And now it's time to get you ready for the match with the Phoenix Rising pregame warm-up on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
As a playoff push continues for Phoenix Rising, we reach the penultimate week of the USL Championship regular season. The Phoenicians back at home for the final time in the 2025 regular season. Perhaps a home playoff game to come, even if outlandish. Rising hosts San Antonio FC, looking to do the league double over the Texans for the first time in a long time tonight on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network. This is an abbreviated version of the pregame warm-up show here on KDUS AM 1060 tonight and on the Phoenix Rising social media pages. I'm your play-by-play man, Ryan Sikora. My analyst is Ronan Haycoop, and our engineer tonight is Casey Smith. Ronan, we look at the closing run for Phoenix. A big win last week in North Carolina, 2-0, one of the more complete performances in Phoenix's season. And now they put themselves within an outside chance of really hosting a playoff game if they can get a lot of points and some help. But more importantly, they can really stamp their playoff position in full tonight.
100%, Ryan, and we talked about it in the post game after New Mexico. Just kind of the playoff picture, that road to getting those playoff spots and maybe even being able to host a game at home here from 38th and Washington. And you almost think you go on the road to a solid North Carolina team and you steal 3 points right out from under them. So now it's time about, hey, you went ahead, you stole some points away. Now it's a time about taking care of business on something that we know this Rising team is capable of, and that's beating San Antonio FC.
For Phoenix, they cannot, in all likelihood, barring crazy scenes in the closing moments of Colorado Springs Switchbacks and Las Vegas Lights FC, Rising cannot clinch a playoff spot with a win tonight, as they could have if Colorado Springs had dropped points. Switchbacks up 1-0 in the final moments of that game right now. But Phoenix, if a loss comes into play tonight, they could be clinging or even below the playoff line. So still so much to play for against a San Antonio team that is reeling, has not scored in 380 minutes, has lost 3 straight for the first time all season.
Exactly. 4 scoreless. Just not in good form. And this is a San Antonio FC team tonight with 3 points. Could go ahead and surpass their total from last year, a very poor season, finished 9th in the West, outside of the playoff picture. Not their standard. They bring in a new head coach. They start out the season. Injuries kind of start to derail through the summer. And now not finding form at this crucial point of the fall has definitely been something that's on the mind, I'm sure, of everybody stepping between the white lines, the coaching staff, the front office. So you really would like to avoid and really make a statement win on the road against a solid Phoenix Rising team and really solidify yourself in that Western Conference playoff picture and start to get some momentum as the playoffs come close.
Yeah, partner, that 4-game scoreless streak that you alluded to for San Antonio, longest in club history, which is now in its 10th season of existence if you go back to some of the early USL Pro days. For Phoenix, that 2-0 win puts them on 36 points. When the weekend began 6th in the West, when the day began 7th in the West, above the playoff line, Rising, according to John Morrissey of Backheel.com's playoff predictor, is going to finish in the playoffs on 38.5 points. There is a very slim chance that they miss out, about 20%, which doesn't seem too slim, but when everybody else below them is really likely to miss it, Phoenix look like they're going to be a playoff team. So at this point, you would look at it and say, it's all about finding the right rhythm, the right form for the postseason. Last week, Phoenix Rising go to a back 3 from the jump for the first time all year to good success. They will do it again tonight against San Antonio.
Exactly, Ryan. I mean, one thing, if anybody who's ever played fantasy football knows that those percentages change very quickly and really don't matter that much. What matters is the play we're going to see tonight. And for Phoenix Rising, especially when you look at getting a result here against San Antonio, that 20%, you really don't want to go all the way to Pittsburgh next Saturday and really have to fight for a result against the Riverhounds. It's a tough ground to play in. It's a very solid team in that Eastern Conference that's been pretty competitive at the top half. You have your batteries fighting around, obviously.
Sure.
There's a lot of great teams in that conference. So for Phoenix Rising, you really want to come away with a quality result, 3 points preferred, but at least something that you can kind of hang your hat on, be like, hey, let's do this. We can continue to use this as a sticking point as we get into Pittsburgh, as hopefully we get into the rest of the Western Conference. And this is a team, Ryan, that we have seen kind of explode in the latter halves of the fall in multiple seasons, with Juan Guerra, without Juan Guerra. So Phoenix Rising, the cards certainly haven't been folded yet for Rising in terms of that playoff potential, but you still need to get a couple of aces here if you want to continue that.
Last one on this match from a technical and tactical side of things. San Antonio playing their third game of the week. They lost on Wednesday, 92nd minute winner from Orange County's Usman Silla in California. So San Antonio has had to fly around a whole lot. Not easy on the bodies. Phoenix could have a chance to take advantage of that one tonight.
100%, and this is a Phoenix Rising team that has had, especially in the last 3 weeks, Ryan, has dealt with knocks, has dealt with illness, has dealt with all these things off the field, and you've seen how it's affected their play. For a San Antonio team that has struggled the entire year, to the point where we could talk about Mitchell Tainter, one of their best players in the center as center half. If he's not playing, it's a different team. There's plenty of other guys on this roster likewise, so you'd love to see that if you're a Phoenix Rising fan come into fruition. But at the end of the day, this is a professional soccer team. You're paid money. You're going to be a professional. You're going to handle your travel, help your body out. So it's definitely something to consider, but it's more of an excuse than an actual expectation, I guess.
Both these teams have been injured all year. You mentioned Mitchell Tainter, who's missed 8 of San Antonio's matches throughout the season. Only Almir Soto for the Texans has played in every match. Phoenix has just had 2 players feature in all 28 played. 2 games to go in the regular season. Phoenix Rising and San Antonio clinging on to playoff spots with still potential to jump into a home playoff position. That's how wild the West is. 8 teams make the playoffs. Only 3 have clinched. There's a week and a half left in the season. Phoenix and San Antonio for the 3rd time in 2025. Coming up next on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
Every day we take steps to keep the people we love safe, but some health risks are easy to miss. Ticks hiding in the yard can spread germs, like the ones that cause Lyme disease. Mice searching for food can spread bacteria that makes us sick. Mosquitoes lay eggs in standing water and can spread West Nile virus and more. Cockroaches are drawn to water in the home, leaving behind allergens that can trigger asthma attacks. Common pests can threaten our health. Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org.
Many Americans have missed regular dental care in the past few years. It's important to see a dentist twice a year to identify any problems early. Taking care of your oral health helps overall health. Brushing at least twice a day with fluoride toothpaste and flossing daily can help prevent oral health problems. For more information, visit hrsa.gov/oral-health.
This high school gym used to be packed most nights. Not anymore. Do you know why? Because bad behavior by fans, especially adults, has caused a shortage of game officials across the country. You see, without officials, we can't have sports. Don't let this become reality. It's time for a change. Let's bench bad behavior for good.
What would you give for a child you loved to make their wish come true? To help them fight a critical illness? Just imagine what you do. You see, wishes are so powerful, and you can make them real. And give a child back their childhood, even change the way they feel. Every single one of us can make the stars align. Because when we come together, hope and joy will shine. Wishes need stars like you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
I'm Naheem Hines, proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom has muscular dystrophy, and the MDA helps her and kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan, and I'm 12 years old. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. And MDA funds over 150 care centers for kids like me.
For over 70 years, MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and related neuromuscular diseases. Learn more at mda.org today.
The Supplemental Security Income Program provides monthly payments to help meet basic needs, like putting food on the table, paying the rent, or buying new shoes for growing feet. You may qualify if your income and financial resources are low, and you are 65 or older, or an adult or child with a disability, or who is blind. Call 1-800-772-1213 or go to ssa.gov/SSI to start to apply. Produced by Social Security at U.S. taxpayer expense.
The sun's shining, birds are singing, and all feels right in the world.
Until the season changes, and suddenly you lose your motivation to get out of bed. In fact, 1 in 5 people experience some form of depression, no matter the season or time of year.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, our vision is to build a mentally healthy nation for all, because we want you to live your best life and be your best you all year round.
Please visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
Every day we take steps to keep the people we love safe, but some health risks are easy to miss. Ticks hiding in the yard can spread germs, like the ones that cause Lyme disease. Mice searching for food can spread bacteria that makes us sick. Mosquitoes lay eggs in standing water and can spread West Nile virus and more. Cockroaches are drawn to water in the home, leaving behind allergens that can trigger asthma attacks. Common pests can threaten our health. Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org.
Many Americans have missed regular dental care in the past few years. It's important to see a dentist twice a year to identify any problems early. Taking care of your oral health helps overall health. Brushing at least twice a day with fluoride toothpaste and flossing daily can help prevent oral health problems. For more information, visit hrsa.gov/oral-health.
This high school gym used to be packed most nights. Not anymore. Do you know why? Because bad behavior by fans, especially adults, has caused a shortage of game officials across the country. You see, without officials, we can't have sports. Don't let this become reality. It's time for a change. Let's bench bad behavior for good.
Let's get into the action. Phoenix Rising Soccer, live now on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
The subtle, small steps towards the end of a season for Phoenix Rising tonight. It's not quite the tail end of the campaign, with still one more game after this one to go. But for Phoenix, its biggest match, maybe since the title charge in Charleston in 2023. A club like Phoenix Rising should not, cannot, will not miss the playoffs. That is what they face here tonight. 7th in the Western Conference is Phoenix Rising, with a massive 6-point swing on the line this evening against San Antonio FC. Win, and Phoenix could very well put themselves in with the shot of hosting a playoff game on the final day. Lose, and Phoenix Rising could find itself below the playoff line. Those are the stakes tonight on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network. I'm your play-by-play man, Ryan Sikora. The analyst tonight is Ronan Haycoop. Engineer is Casey Smith. We're so glad you can join us tonight for the final match of the home slate of the regular season. Fan Appreciation Night from 38th and Washington in downtown Phoenix. A great crowd on hand this evening, maybe north of 7,000 to watch Phoenix Rising take on San Antonio. Ronan Haycoop, an opportunity for Phoenix Rising to do something it hasn't done in almost 5 years. With a win tonight and a win next week and some results that going their way, Phoenix could host a playoff game for the first time in half a decade, but they've got to get the job done this evening.
Especially it would be the first time from this venue, Ryan Sikora, that we get to see a home playoff game. It was a point of emphasis in 24 to try to get there. Just short did Rising, but like you said, Ryan, a lot of stakes tonight. That's what makes October fun. It's a huge month for the sports world, not just for us USL sickos, but this Phoenix Rising team has been in form. They've been in and out. They stole some points against North Carolina. San Antonio has not been in good form. You'd think for Rising, you got to smell that blood in the water and take advantage early. Come out firing, come out with that intensity, and that all starts from the back with the captain, Pop Marboy.
In form might be a little bit of recency bias there from you, Roman, because this is a Phoenix team that before last week had won just once since mid-July. But oh, how the course of it all can change when you put together 100 minutes like they did in North Carolina last Friday.
6 points is 6 points.
Sure.
Last time I checked, it took you, 6 games to get them? But regardless, you're 100% right. This Phoenix Rising team has been consistently average, I think would be probably the most optimistic way to actually articulate that point, Ryan. But for Phoenix Rising, like I said, it's time to take care of business. It's time to be a professional. It's time between the white lines to come out with this one.
It could be 9 points from 9, and if Phoenix could do that to end the season from its last 3 games, it'd be an exceptional charge to the playoffs. Phoenix will face the North End going right to left on your radio dial in the first half in their all-black kits with the white shorts. San Antonio in the white Viva kit, the away strip for the visitors from Texas, as we are underway from 38th in Washington. Phoenix Rising's final home game of the 2025 regular season. They've got possession on the left side, shaping it from left to right. It's at the feet of the captain, Pop Marboy, flicked along by Charlie Dennis for the run of Colin Smith. He's dispossessed, and San Antonio will possess for the first time this evening. They race from left to right over towards the goal mouth, and a ball right into the clutches of Phoenix Rising's goalkeeper Patrick Rakowski in all green here this evening. Daniel Flores is on the ball for Phoenix. He's lifting a ball in behind. It'll be touched by Richard Sanchez, the goalkeeper for San Antonio, in a bright yellow shirt. These two teams come in 5th in the West, 6th in the West at the entry point of the weekend, with some results having happened today and yesterday. They've fallen in and around on the table. Harvey Neville is launched forward. We've played 60 seconds from 38th in Washington, and Patrick Rakowski will get his second touch. Ronan, the thing that's so alarming about this game for me, two teams that want to play very similar styles. It could be very hard to separate the two tonight.
Both of these teams like to possess laterally around the back and then pounce, right? You want to get upfield, very vertical, direct wingers on both ends.
Daniel Flores is one of those direct wide players for Phoenix. He's got a touch in the corner. He's driven it all the way into the attacking third. At the feet of Asenge, and Akello, and then Acela Senge again. 100 seconds into the match. Flores on the left, crossing early, deflected away by Alexi Swahi, the defender for San Antonio. And Phoenix will have the first corner kick of tonight's match. 0-0, second minute. If you're following along on our usual video feeds, which you can find on Phoenix Rising's social media pages, we thank you for being with us tonight there specifically. We've got a great visual element to follow along. No timer tonight, so we will keep you maybe a little more on track with the ticking of the clock. More typical of the radio broadcast, I'd hope. Charlie Dennis will take the corner, outswinger left foot, put into the mixer, bouncing about, and that's touched off of Noble Akello. Slipping and sliding and unable to find the space was Mohamed Omar in his own box, and Akello wasn't ready for it. Goal kick, SAFC.
And we were talking about, Ryan, how this game is going to be won on the break with those direct wingers, right? It's going to be won and it's going to be lost on the break. Another thing not to sleep on in a game like this is going to be those set pieces. When you're so mentally switched on to, overlapping runs, long balls all day, it's very easy to fall asleep at set pieces when you have that moment of rest. Definitely going to be a point of emphasis for both of these teams to stay switched on even when the ball is stopped.
Carl Saint is dispossessed in midfield and then fouled. It was Luke Hawkinson who came into the Haitian Saint. Free kick, Phoenix in their own half. Saint, one of two changes in this Phoenix Rising lineup this evening. No Rafa Shihus. the elder statesman of the squad at 35 years old. Saint comes back from international duty. She is a little bit under the weather tonight, so Carl Saint will start in the middle of the Phoenix Rising back three. No JP Skeers, who's out with a little bit of a knock. He's on the bench, though. Noble Akello starts in midfield. Daniel Flores is on it for Phoenix, and he's tried to push a ball in behind. Flores is also back in this team for the second straight week. Finds the feet now of Swahi. Alexi Swahi, Jorge Hernandez, and one by St. High. Darius Johnson is on it. New haircut for DJ. In behind for Hope Aviyevu. Stumbled as he stepped forward and could never get a clear-cut touch on it. 4th minute, 0-0, goal kick San Antonio.
This is good energy from Rising, winning 50-50 balls and pressing high in this attacking third, and that was a great chance there from Hope. Just unfortunately, plant foot hits the ball. Never going to be a good sign with that.
Phoenix started the game in North Carolina last Friday really well. An extra day of rest for Phoenix. A long trip cross-country to Cary. A 2-0 win over NCFC. Just the 4th clean sheet in league play this year for Phoenix. Patrick Rakowski has all of them in goal for Rising. Jean-Eric Morceau taken to ground but wins it back for Phoenix and then gives it away. San Antonio racing forward, but nowhere to go as Rakowski will collect. Morceau's been an inspired ad for Phoenix over the last month or so. Got here in September and has slotted in nicely to a much busier, more defensive-minded Phoenix midfield.
Yeah, 100%. That's been one of the great adjustments that Coach Pa, I think, has made through over the course of this season, is really understanding, some of the weak points in that middle of midfield and kind of switching what he wanted from them from more possession to a lot of defensive-minded work.
Daniel Flores racing into the half space, slides the ball in, headed away by Mitchell Tainter, the captain this evening for the visitors. A start for Tainter, who's missed the last couple. Kept high by Rising. Charlie Dennis looking for Aviyevu. Cut out. I hope Aviyevu was. Almir Soto is on it. He's dragged to the floor. And it's a free kick for San Antonio. The rest of the starting lineup for Carlos Llamosa's San Antonio FC. Richard Sanchez is the goalie. We already mentioned the captain, Tainter. Swahi, Mohamed Omar, Luke Hawkinson, Jorge Hernandez, Lucio Barron back in the lineup. Almir Soto, Harvey Neville on loan from Phoenix Rising. Rare that you get a lone player starting in a match against his parent club, but Harvey Neville does so. Jimmy Madronda, Santiago Patino leads the line for the San Antonio FC side, 5th in the Western Conference at the beginning of the weekend. Mitchell Tainter is on it in the center circle. He's pushed the ball forward for Mohamed Omar. 7th minute scoreless start. San Antonio yet to threaten Phoenix, yet to really have much possession. Middle Park, Jorge Hernandez, the best creator in the league, outside of maybe Hope Aviyevu for Phoenix Rising. He's dispossessed. Darius Johnson touching forward. He's taken to ground by Lucio Barron. And Phoenix have a free kick.
And we talk about these fast possession switches. Excuse me there, Ryan. And this is something that I think will really play into Phoenix Rising with all the athletes they have in the back with Saint, Asenge, Pop. Very versatile, love to put tackles in. So it'll be fun to see how that Phoenix Rising contingent in the middle of that back three is going to sit.
Starting lineup for Phoenix Rising, Patrick Rakowski in goal, Colin Smith, Pop Marboy, Carl Saint, along with Acela Senge and Daniel Flores, the back five. The midfield pivot is Akello and Morceau, the front three, Aviyevu, Charlie Dennis, who's been spectacular over the last half month or so, and Darius Johnson, the same front three that got the job done in Cary, North Carolina. Phoenix on the ball in their own half, Carl Saint, and then Morceau, and then Pop Marboy, and Saint again. And wide it goes for Asenge. Acela Senge, the Cameroonian, venturing forward. Never got the run from Daniel Flores. This ball will stay in touch all the way for Harvey Neville to collect it deep in his own third. Finds his goalkeeper Sanchez. Ball over the top, won by Akello. Second chance, Phoenix sweeping. Hope Aviyevu's on it in the box. Hope Aviyevu. Akello looking for room. Morceau's on his right foot. Feet of Charlie Dennis, who's favoring his left. Dennis switching play. Overhit it for Darius Johnson, who will just about keep it in touch. Chalk on his heels on the left side. Phoenix venturing forward, 8th minute. Darius Johnson crossing in, blocked by Neville. And out for a throw-in. Harvey Neville's played much better for San Antonio than he did for Phoenix in the first half of the season.
think he's seen that move from DJ on a training ground or two.
Yeah, probably.
Read that one like an absolute book.
Harvey Neville played 6 times earlier this year for Phoenix Rising before being loaned out in July. Throw-in Rising, attacking third, left side Flores. Wanted Johnson, touched away by Berron. 50-50, Patino couldn't win it. And Akello dropped in, did the defensive job. Morsu, middle park. Every single black shirt for Phoenix Rising is in the attacking half. Colin Smith, who was so special last Friday night, a goal and an assist for Phoenix Rising's number 2, just signed a new contract. Flores, Johnson, left side. DJ with a swift turn, the Grenadian running 1v1 with Neville. They want to pick on this. Darius Johnson crossing back post. Wasn't his best stuff as it sails over the end line for a goal kick. 9th minute, 0-0.
What I'm really liking right now from Phoenix Rising, Ryan, is Carl Saint's positioning in possession. He's very high. He's sitting in the middle of that back 3 with Pop to his right, Asenge to his left, and he's sitting very high in possession. That's allowing him to be in position to prevent the break, right? To be in those positions, to win those 50-50 balls and keep it out of some of the creators on San Antonio that want to turn tail and run towards your own end.
Scores gone final in Colorado. Switchbacks 1, Las Vegas 0. Jonas Fjällberg the winner in the 54th minute. A very good result for Colorado Springs that puts them above the playoff line. As it stands in the USL Championships Western Conference, the odd man out is Orange County. Phoenix still clinging on to a spot in 8th in the live table. San Antonio has the ball in their own box with their goalkeeper Richard Sanchez. Only one goalkeeper averages more passes per match in the Western Conference than Sanchez. That's his counterpart tonight, Patrick Rakowski, again speaking to the similarity and the familiarity with these two teams tonight. Saint in midfield, stepping up, slinging wide. Feet of Daniel Flores, left half space. Steps up into the attacking third across the timeline, finds the feet of Darius Johnson. DJ with one touch on his right and then a second heavy in. Now he'll switch play from left to right. Morsu and Dennis receiving an overlapping run from Colin Smith. Charlie Dennis cutting in, stinging. Saved by Sanchez, who I think never saw it. He could only parry it away. Stays with Phoenix in the attacking half. 11th minute, probably the best chance for any team so far. Flores, middle pitch Johnson. Darius Johnson turning through. Dennis, Charlie Dennis! He's a special player who just has absolutely everything in his locker. Chips it over the defender, chips it over the goalkeeper, and strikes in the 12th minute. Phoenix Rising 1, San Antonio FC 0. The Venetians putting themselves in a prime position towards the playoff push. Charlie Dennis strikes once again, Ronan. It's a special month for Phoenix's number 12.
I mean, we talked to him just a few weeks ago, and the way he approaches the game, the way he thinks about the sport is such a high level. Just such a smart guy, very quiet at times, but once he gets on the pitch, he's buzzing around, he's fighting for 50-50s, and he's putting the ball in the back of the net. It's just such a special player for this league, especially. You'd think this guy has definitely earned a right to maybe get some shots at some better places, perhaps. I mean, he's just so good. Even at Tampa Bay, the consistency of that quality has been there for so long.
30 years old, Brighton, England, and Charlie Dennis has made himself maybe a permanent home under Palmadou Ka in Phoenix. Dennis again, and Aviyevu racing forward for Rising, taken off the ball fairly by Patino. And now Mitchell Tainter will step up and switch the play for Jorge Hernandez. 13th minute, 1-0 Phoenix Rising. What a start for the hosts, who lead by a goal to 0. Switching play is Hernandez, up in the box for Hawkinson. Left side, San Antonio's attack. Jimmy Madronda, a former Portland Timbers man, touched off by Potmar Boy. Just exactly what Phoenix was looking for. Dennis, who was the USL Championship Player of the Week 3 weeks ago, scored a goal and was a substitute on the Team of the Week last week. And he's likely headed there again. Berron has it high, not before there was a foul on Morsu, who's rolling around. And Phoenix have a free kick.
And how about DJ, man? Lovely bit of skill from him to get the ball in to Charlie Dennis can't go unmentioned. He's been consistently getting better almost every time he plays a game. It's just so fun to watch when you know a guy who works as hard as he does gets a shot like that and is able to make a play like that.
Darius Johnson does get credited with the assist on that Charlie Dennis goal, the Englishman's 7th of the USL Championship season. Also had 4 in the Jägermeister Cup. Darius Johnson, just his 3rd assist of the year. Another start for him. Long ball Phoenix, Colin Smith touching down, much more of a wingback than a fullback. So this move to the back 3 has favored him very finely. Avievu dancing through the midfield, finding the space and shifting it off into the feet of Jean-Eric Morsu. Flores, there's just so much quality in this Phoenix team at their best. Johnson onside, winning it off Swahi, running into Neville, and Harvey Neville commits a foul. Harvey Neville, as we stated earlier, has made himself quite at home in San Antonio under one of his former coaches at Portland Timbers too. But you'd have to think, based on his track record and what he did here in Phoenix, that's one that Rising would want to pick on, the right back tonight for SAFC.
And just a point of emphasis, too, I'm sure he's coming in with a chip on the shoulder because most of the time with those loan contracts, you know, you're not allowed to play against your parent company, or his parent team, rather, especially in the starting lineup. And it seems Phoenix Rising didn't feel the need to put that in said contract. So for him going out tonight, it's going to be interesting to see how he fares. But they're putting DJ all over him, like you said.
One high by Asenge. Phoenix's free kick was poor. Charlie Dennis just slapped it off his teammate, Darius Johnson. And the other way comes San Antonio. Hernandez twisting, turning, tucking, and dropped to the floor by Flores. Fairly, says the referee. Brad Jensen tonight is the lead official in the Blue Crew this evening. Brad Jensen's 66th USL Championship contest. He gives up about 4 yellow cards a game. John Krill is the AR1 on the coach's side. Mark Novosel on the far side with the fans. Pavel Georgiev is the 4th official. He's having a conversation with Carlos Llamosa right now, who would have thought that was a foul. 16th minute, 1-0 Phoenix. 11th minute officially. Charlie Dennis has the goal. 2nd in as many weeks for Charlie, really 3rd in 3. Soto gave it away. Morsu turns on his right, switches play. Has Colin Smith. So much space for Phoenix Rising's right back. Serving in for Hope Avievu, cleared away just barely by Alexi Swahi. Phoenix's verticality on display, and now San Antonio the other way, showing their stuff. Wide for Hawkinson. Luke Hawkinson overran it, gave a clap, probably could have kept it in touch. Rising throw, right side own half.
Yeah, he thinks it's San Antonio ball. I think he was under the impression that it was tipped, or at least deflected in some way across, but now it was just clear as day. That's a mistake from him for sure.
A Phoenix team that, again, cannot clinch a berth now tonight with Colorado Springs Switchbacks win. But Phoenix would do very well to earn 3 points in this one this evening. As you always would, I suppose. It's good to win games.
That is the goal.
Louisville City does it a lot. They're going to win the Players' Shield. They're going to break the record for USL Championship points per game in a season, even if they lose their last 2 matches, which is not going to happen. Swahi's on the ball for San Antonio. Pacing up to the center circle, finds Hernandez, good line skip. Luke Hawkinson's ducking and diving. Into the box it goes, 1 deep by Rising, Akello picking up. Charlie Dennis is on it, defended well, backwards he goes, and skips a line well. Johnson couldn't collect. Harvey Neville all the way back to his goalkeeper. San Antonio come into this one having lost 3 in a row, having not scored in 4 for SAFC, and have now eclipsed 400 minutes without a goal. Longest stint in club history without scoring. That's a 10-year tenure for San Antonio. Asenge back for Rakovsky. Haven't had to call Patrick Rakovsky's name too much tonight, who would love to get back-to-back clean sheets for the 2nd time this year. Morsu on it for Phoenix Rising. In their own half, down the right side. Charlie Dennis a touch in the attacking half. He ran into trouble and then ran into Jimmy Madronda. San Antonio on it. 18th, 1-0. Neville, great ball, finding the space. Hernandez outside the boot ball, right channel, attacking third. Patino into the box, held up well. Shot on goal is saved. Rakowski stopped it. There's one ball forward. Hernandez, right side. Patino, the all-time leading goal scorer for San Antonio. Service in. Hawkinson laid off Barron. And Lucio Barron could not put a shot past Patrick Rakowski. Phoenix will build. One high by San Antonio. Tainter turned away. Avievu. San Antonio have been better since conceding, Ronan.
Yeah, definitely got punched in the mouth and coming back with a little bit more energy, trying to move upfield, take advantage of their verticality that we talked about a little bit in pregame.
Daniel Flores just tried to play a pass and came up holding his hamstring. Referee will stop play. That was non-contact. Flores just couldn't do it. A player who has yet to play a full 90 at home for Phoenix. And right away, Greg Spence, the physio, is out in the 20th minute to tend to the left back.
He's stretching that hamstring, but grabbing up at the hip area. Don't want to speculate too much, but that's one injury for soccer players, especially the younger you are. That hip is something to talk about. I speak from experience, unfortunately. It's a killer, especially on a non-dominant leg, or dominant leg rather. Need motion for the sub immediately, never a good sign.
Yeah, Ryan Flood is the only left back on the bench for Phoenix Rising. No Emil Quaisho. The rest of the subs for the home side: Isan Sacco, JP Skierce, Ryan Flood, Kelvin Arase, Zion Emmers, Pierce Rizzo. Two goalkeepers on the bench for Phoenix: Tristan Shaw and Tristan Henry. For San Antonio, Nicky Hernandez, Alex Grieve, Noah Dolenmeyer, Reese Buckmaster, Juan Sebastian Osorio, Kyle Linhares, and the backup goalkeeper is Daniel Namani. It should be Ryan Flood. You have to think that's going to come into this game for Flores, who is getting pretty heavy treatment. Doesn't look like he'll continue. 21st minute, 1-0 Phoenix.
A combo of Pa and Darnell just sent him to the far corner flag, and he's getting some stretches in. It doesn't look like this will be a continuance from Flores. Just so frustrating for him, especially. Young player on loan from Chivas. There's a reason why he got looks from a club of the quality of Chivas. He's been fantastic, very dynamic.
We spoke to Daniel this weekend for our special pregame segment. We were unable to run that due to some technical difficulties in the pregame. But Danny talked about kind of his track record. He goes to Chivas. It's a big move for him as a young player. Gets put out on loan. Wanted to come stateside. Wanted to prove himself at a club that really wanted him. He's a U.S.-born Tucson native, so there was an opportunity for Phoenix to use a non-international slot on him, which is always important for a Phoenix team that has plenty of those. And Flores spoke to kind of the culture here as a real game changer for him as a player. He's picked up so much just from a vibes perspective. He will be sacrificed in the 22nd minute. Ryan Flood will come into the game. Another Arizona kid, Tempe native, makes his 17th championship appearance. Also sports his 17th different haircut in those 17 appearances.
Is that a confirmed stat?
Stats that matter, it's not confirmed.
Does Opta have that hairstyle? DJ's got to be up there as one of the league leaders.
DJ's got a very different one tonight. He's got like the Rockstar spikes almost. Back in the box, the restart for San Antonio has found its way to Richard Sanchez. Phoenix engaging its press as it finds itself wide to Jimmy Medranda. Good pressure from Rising as Medranda is forced to play an awry pass in the 23rd. Phoenix win a throw-in high up the pitch in their own attacking half.
And for a game that you're worried about the counter-attack from San Antonio, they're allowing the wingbacks in the press to get very, very high and having the confidence that the other three are going to be able to figure it out.
I want to ask you something on that in a second as Charlie Dennis plays it back to Isela Senge. Phoenix wide for Ryan Flood. Attacking half, the substitute in this match. And then Senge again. Rising will get into their rhythm. By pushing the fullbacks, the wingbacks higher, you're worried about the counterattack, but maybe you can take away the ability for the team to play long by pressing so high?
And exactly, and they're especially with the way that Saint is pushing up in the middle of midfield and preventing, a midfielder from being able to take one touch and turn and play that ball into the half space and play it down the wing. It really is difficult to get around, and he's put a lot of confidence in those two guys, and honestly, it seems to be working for now, almost 24 minutes into this one, but definitely something that Pop and Asenge, as those legs get a little bit tired, to continue being switched on and making sure that you're in the right positions to alleviate some of that physical tiredness.
Long passage of play down the left side as Ronan was giving the educational points there, and it ends up being a throw-in after a couple of passages for San Antonio. Right at the midfield line, right side Harvey Neville to take it the right back. Finds Mohamed Omar. Omar stepping up and ran into trouble. Asela Senge defending. Jean-Eric Morsu defending now again. Phoenix had it with Ryan Flood. He's taken to ground. Very late whistle from Brad Jensen. But Flood dropped to the floor, and Phoenix have a free kick. 25th minute. 1-0 Rising, an 11th minute goal for Charlie Dennis. Back-to-back weeks in the USL Championship Team of the Week, or 2 USL Championship Teams of the Week in the last 3 weeks. He might make it 3 and 4 for the month of October. That'd be quite the stretch for Phoenix's Captain Britain, they called him earlier in the year. I don't know if I loved that one, but I'm a company man at the end of the day. Asenge Long. Up for Dennis, great first touch, nearly nodded along for Aveyevu. Head of Baron, Dennis flicked on, Aveyevu flicked on, maybe made it harder for Colin Smith, who has a touch in the attacking third. Colin Smith scored a goal last week. Colin Smith crossing in. It will be a corner kick for Phoenix Rising, blocked off the backside of a tracking Luke Hawkinson. Colin Smith in that high advanced position. Dangerous for Phoenix Rising.
And this team is Phoenix Rising is playing like a team that went on the road and came away with a 2-0 result. They're playing with their chest up, the swagger, some electricity moving in this final third. It's awesome to see, and I'm sure the fans here from 38th and Washington, the 7,000 plus here, are enjoying it.
There's a mental switch that's happened with this Phoenix Rising team over the last 120 minutes. Into the box it goes from Charlie Dennis. Hope Aveyevu flicks on, and Richard Sanchez plucks it out of the sky. That was the big word in the midweek media press conference from second youngest team in the league in age, and when adjusted for minutes played, the youngest team in the league. Phoenix Rising they've been severely lacking that maturity this season. Tainter cut off by Morsu. Jean-Eric Morsu tapping up, looked to find Dennis, and pass was too heavily hit. Back in the possession of San Antonio. Swahi. Omar dropping in, ripped to the ground by Morsu. That could be a yellow card. Morsu's going to help up Mohamed Omar, who definitely, Ronan, exaggerated the contact, but certainly contact.
I think, honestly, I'm going to have to disagree. I think the contact was there, certainly. I think definitely some theatrics at the end of it once he hit the ground, really trying to get that card, but Morsu was just plainly looking the other direction. He wasn't even focused on the play. It wasn't like it was a nefarious piece of contact, but the way he's popped up makes me think I'm wrong now. But so I think in conclusion, I think you're right, Ryan Sikora, but who knows?
I hope the scream came through for those at home listening, because we could hear it a little bit through our headsets. It was a nice loud yelp from Mohamed Omar, the Canadian.
Resembled Maria Sharapova, if you're familiar with tennis, right?
Yeah. Canadian-born Omar, fully fledged Somali international, one of 2 on this San Antonio team. Abdi Salim, a mid-season acquisition, also plays for Somalia, who are not going to the World Cup, despite the 6 gazillion spots up for grabs. 28th minute, Phoenix venturing. Darius Johnson crossing too close to Sanchez. The goalkeeper high points it inside the 6-yard box. Good progressive attack for Phoenix Rising. Middle Park, Omar. He looks plenty fine as he gallops to his right. Feet of Neville. And back for Alexi Swahi. San Antonio, 5th in the league in possession. Phoenix Rising 8th, so 2 upper third teams in that category across the USL Championship. Hernandez flicking on. Darius Johnson tracked the run well and scooped it back up. Right now, Phoenix Rising 58% of the ball. '29th minute, back at the feet of San Antonio. Shots in this game, 3 in total, 2 for Phoenix, 1 for San Antonio. All 3 have been on target, so these guys are doing a great job of taking great shots, you know. Swahi. There's a little bit of sarcasm in that statement. Mitch Tainter, the captain. Good to have him back in the team. Makes his 22nd start. They've played 29 games. Ball at the top from Tainter, one of the best in the league at the long diagonal. Searching run, Hernandez. And it's taken out of touch. Last off a San Antonio attacker. It was Jorge Hernandez. Goal kick Phoenix. 30 minutes into this match. Rising scored in the 11th. They dominated Roan in the first 15 minutes of this game.
And it seems that it's been a conscious decision to kind of allow San Antonio to have more of the ball and kind of press at times. And that's when a press is really, really effective, especially when you're looking at pressing fullbacks and people playing in the middle of midfield. The 6th position specifically is when you don't know when you're going to be pressed and you already have to make that calculation in your head, whether the press is coming or not. It makes that normal calculation of where I'm playing the ball next, what's my first touch, so much more complicated.
That 6 you're referring to is the deepest lying midfielder, correct, at home? Yep.
Correct.
Throw in, Hawkinson wins it for San Antonio, sliding challenge at Kello, got it back for Phoenix, Dennis in traffic, and then Ryan Flood is on it before he is trucked to the ground for a Phoenix free kick.
You're starting to see some frustration from San Antonio. A lot of these calls have gone the way of Phoenix Rising. A game like this tends to get chippy down the end regardless, but with the way these teams both play in the press and the physicality, it's definitely going to be a couple yellow cards in this one.
Harvey Neville has it for San Antonio, finds the feet of the Argentine Lucio Berron, and he steps up and moves it wide. Hernandez fouled by Flood. Free kick San Antonio FC. Not only the fouls going the way, but we just said the possession numbers largely favoring Phoenix. We've got a big enough crowd tonight where we could see some Olays ring around. It's kind of a big deal. Fan Appreciation Night, the final home game of the regular season for Phoenix, who could still host a playoff game. The scenario there for Phoenix to get a home game, win tonight, win next week against Pittsburgh Riverhounds on the road. In a Copa Tejas title match next weekend. Right now, El Paso playing in the USL Championship here on match day 29 for Phoenix. Not looking good for Rising. 74th minute, 1-0 Locomotive. Ball into the box. San Antonio racing forward. Harvey Neville is latched onto it. He's crossed in. And it's touched out by Asel Asenge. Corner kick San Antonio. So again, El Paso, 24th minute goal from former Rising man Gabby Torres, who has had quite the terrific year for the Locos. They lead 1-0 over FC Tulsa, who have locked up the #1 seed in the Western Conference. El Paso with a win would not quite clinch a home playoff game, or no, they would. They would clinch a home playoff game with a win. And that would be the 4th and final team to host. Beating Phoenix for the third consecutive year, would have to go on the road in the playoffs. They did not make it in 2022. 33rd minute, 1-0, corner kick, San Antonio. Swung in by Hernandez's left foot from the near side. It's hit well over the top for Medranda, bouncing about. That was something right plucked out of the training ground. They skipped over every single one of the tall trees in the 6-yard box and found Jimmy Medranda at the top of the box alone. His shot stung hard and low, wide of the far post to Rakowski's left. Goal kick Phoenix.
And you can see why it's drawn up for him, Ryan. I mean, that was a crack. Very fortunate for Pat that didn't find his way between the pipes. There was no way of getting in front of that.
Medranda's got 2 goals this year, a team leading 4 assists. He's on the ball here in the middle of the park. It was almost spilled, but San Antonio have it. Arrived from Deportivo Cali in the first division of Colombia. A player with great pedigree in his home country of Colombia. And in Major League Soccer, made over 200 MLS appearances with Portland Timbers in the prime days of the Timbers title-winning teams. He's a very good player. 34th. Long ball, San Antonio's on it. Tainter looking for it. No runners made. It's out for a rising goal kick. There's a lot of Timbers connections for San Antonio, in part because Carlos Llamosa spent 5 years of his life coaching there under multiple head coaches, first Gio Savarese, and then Phil Neville, who is the father of Harvey Neville, who is a starter tonight for San Antonio, arrived from Phoenix on loan, but before that, he was at Portland Timbers too. Ball flicked in behind for Colin Smith. First time ball, Morsu a little late to get there. Couldn't pursue it quickly, and Sanchez has scooped it up. And San Antonio have it again. Madronda, Portland Timbers connection. Kyle Linhares is a summer arrival, a full-time purchase from Timbers too. So he likes his Portland guys, just like Phoenix loves its French. There's about 6 billion French speakers on this team for Phoenix Rising.
That an official stat? 6 billion?
Maybe 5.
It seems more accurate.
There's more French speakers on this team than human society has existed, that's for sure. Years human society has existed. We're getting off track, 10 minutes to go, first half.
I mean, to be fair, French has got to be in the top 5 most spoken languages in the world, right? English, Mandarin.
Arab?
Oh, Arabic.
I think Arabic, yeah, Arabic.
And I think just by popular, well, no, India's got a bunch of different languages. We're off.
To the footy. Tainter's on the ball, center circle. See, this is why Ronan doesn't do enough games. We get into weird tangents. Tainter slipping a ball to the right side, cut out by Flood, and cleared all the way back to San Antonio's goalkeeper. Not much has happened since that goal from Phoenix. Not much really happened outside of that goal for either of these two teams. San Antonio's had more of the ball over the last half hour. First 5 minutes, maybe 10, was all Phoenix Rising. 36th, 1-0. Swahi, Neville, right side, just inside the line. Cleared by Asenge. Phoenix Rising team that right now lead at home. It's been a struggle at 38th in Washington this year in the league for the club. Just 3 wins in its 14 matches this year at home. Right now on track for a club record low points per game at home, just .93. The previous low was last year at 1.2. So well off the mark, even with a win today. They will break that record, but doesn't matter what you win as long as you win late. It's the American game. Rising trying to eke into the playoffs with a late season surge and simply look to make noise on the road as Phoenix did in 2023 en route to its first ever USL Championship title. 37th minute, Madronda's on the ball for San Antonio.
And Rising really tucked far back into their own end now. All 10 behind the ball and letting Madronda and Neville operate with a little bit of breathing room here.
Ball goes wide. It is Harvey Neville on it. Heels on the end line, all the way there. Harvey Neville now backs it off. Moves it into the feet of Mohamed Omar.
Rising looks very confident accepting this pressure right now from San Antonio.
Stats and information, by the way, tells me that's Casey Smith. The 22nd most spoken language in the world is French.
Really?
Madronda serving, low, blocked. Goal kick, no, corner kick. I said blocked. It looked like it may not have gone off Colin Smith, but it did in the end, according to Brad Jensen. And it's another corner kick for San Antonio, trailing by a goal. Phoenix in front. Yeah, 22nd. Which is actually probably how many French speakers Phoenix Rising have in the team. It'll be served in by Jorge Hernandez, one of the championship's best providers. It's knocked away and out for another corner kick. This year, the assists have been down for Hernandez, 4 this year, still tied for a team high. Goals have been up for the Mexican-born Californian. One-time league MVP with LA Galaxy 2 a couple of years ago. He's just 24 years old. He's been in the league for almost 5 full seasons. That includes a gap where he went to Europe for a year and a half in the middle of that. He was a great young player. Neville, Hernandez, they went short and then back for Harvey. Neville on his right, serving in, bouncing about. Cleared away, not out yet is Phoenix. Flood skips a line, and Hope Avievu's taken a touch right into a defensive body of Lucio Berron. Back at the feet of the visitors. Point in time. 3 shots for Phoenix, 2 for San Antonio, who have now taken over the lion's share of possession at 56%. Rising, as Ronan mentioned earlier, really inviting San Antonio to have the ball. And Noble Okello is just get into that boiler pot, really back 5. They could not be asked to do much other than defend and force North Carolina to break them down. It worked quite well for Phoenix from a defensive integrity standpoint, but also a mentality standpoint.
100%. Taking pride in sitting 10 back and taking pride in the press is definitely something. It's fun, you know, when you're pressing and you're stealing the ball and pushing. But at the same time, when somebody cannot provide anything and they're just passing around the back, you get to relax, refresh, and by the end, you let the ball do the work. You're going to come off in that second half a lot better than the team that was passing the ball around trying to break you down.
Charlie Dennis dribbling into traffic, taken to ground, no foul. Madronda, Hernandez, first time Asenge swept. And Ronan, that is the back 3 at its best. Well documented in our broadcasts over the years. It's not your preferred formation for a team to run out, but at the back 3's best, you are defensively solid, switched on constantly. It's much easier to cover ground. Phoenix proved as such last week.
At the end of the day, it comes down to personnel.
Sure.
And last season, when I was really anti the back 3, I felt that, you know, Phoenix Rising didn't have the quality that they have with Colin, with Ryan, and of course with Flores now, to be able to play that wing-back position to its extreme and to its best. Because we saw it with Lawrence at times. It was great last season, Lawrence White, but it never really came through for him.
Bending ball, Avievu. Sanchez has to head it away. Okello will chest it down. Charlie Dennis went for the chip, and it went about 5 yards over the goal. From about 35 out, Noble Okello on a 50-50, took his chest flat to the ball, nodding it forward for Charlie Dennis, and with his left foot just looked to loft it over the goalkeeper, but instead he lofts it over the goal. Still 1-0, 42nd minute.
Interested to see here if Rising is going to try to pin them back here and kind of flip the script.
As of now, Phoenix seem very content to lay off the line of confrontation, it's called, and get to halftime with a goal advantage. 1-0 at 11th minute, Charlie Dennis the difference. It was the back 3 that was so successful for Phoenix in 2023, when they did have the real sound and solid personnel for it, Ronan. So in some ways, the more things change, the more they stay the same for Phoenix. They're back at what made them great at the tail end of their only title season, and what is shaping up like maybe a very similar run-in to that title-winning campaign. They have all the intangibles, the underlying numbers, the goals, the offensive firepower, the game changers off the bench, just like the 2023 team has. Only one team has scored more goals from substitutes and had more different players score as substitutes than Phoenix this year. It is the all-conquering Louisville City, which probably leads in every category in the league. So good company there for Phoenix. 3 minutes to go, first half. Tainter threading the line, looked for Barron, cut out. Johnson has a lot of room, chased by Tainter. Darius Johnson's great on the break, one of the quickest players in the league. Tainter slips, Johnson dives and ducks back, and Johnson on his right foot, looking to tee up Jean-Eric Morceau. No options to go forward, instead it's wide. And Colin Smith and Hope Avievu just dancing outside the penalty area, 25 yards from goal, right side. Avievu, now it goes further right towards the touchline, back from Morceau. Switches play, touch off his left, pass up cross, thinking his team was going to have a throw-in. Instead, it's a San Antonio throw, 44th minute.
Yeah, Hope even, I'm surprised we didn't hear it in the mic. Hope was yelling to leave it, saying that it came off Mitch.
Tainter, he's got the ball. Touched it into the feet of Barron. Tough challenge, Morsu. Free kick, San Antonio. On the ball is Tainter. Clock is ticking in this first half. Should not be too much stoppage time here at 38th in Washington.
A few minutes for Flores.
Sure, that's a good point. Cleared by Boy, touched by Flood, so maybe 4, which in the modern game is not a lot.
Still not a lot.
Avievu, Charlie Dennis, center circle, run from Hope Avievu. Dennis kept the course, kept the ball, and then lost out to it. Hernandez stepping over, out of touch for a throw.
Yeah, that was a good tackle there by Omar. Just did enough to kind of trip up Charlie Dennis.
We'll get 3 minutes of stoppage time. Phoenix a throw in. Flood and Charlie Dennis. Darius Johnson, inward he goes. Neville kicked it off of him. Johnson still with the ball at his feet. Neville, Akello, challenge, throw in. Right side, defensive half, San Antonio. There is a Texan down on the ground. It is once again, I believe, Muhammad Omar, maybe Almir Soto. It's definitely Almir Soto. Right in front of the San Antonio technical area. Darius Johnson was having a long conversation. He's been given a yellow card. First name in the book tonight for Brad Jensen.
Yeah, some words were definitely shared between Soto and DJ right there. DJ turned, pointed a finger in his face, kind of put it right in his chest. And Soto very quickly hit the deck. I think he's fortunate enough that that's not a double yellow card. It was away from the play.
San Antonio played a little too early, so while the name goes into the book of Brad Jensen, we'll pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves here on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network. Tonight on KDUS AM 1060, final game on there for the home slate this year, maybe a playoff game or two. Powers that be can work it out. Ryan Sikora, Ronan Haku, Casey Smith, the engineer for us here at the game. Chris Schubert is back in studio, our technical director this evening. Feet of Jorge Hernandez, second minute of stoppage time, about 60 seconds left. Hernandez lifting in, blocked by the long legs of Akello, and Ryan Flood had it, played it right to the feet of Hernandez, and now San Antonio can go again. Flood is dropped to the floor. Hernandez is darting into the box. He's tumbling to the ground. No foul, says the referee. Asenge clears. Feet of Avievu. Hope Avievu, great lower body strength. And he has won a free kick and a yellow card for a San Antonio FC player. Was that Soto or was that Hernandez? That could be very important in terms of later on in the game. I think it's Almir Soto that's gone into the book. Should be the final moment of the first half. Phoenix 1, San Antonio 0. 11th minute, Charlie Dennis scores his 7th of the year in the USL Championship. His 11th across all competitions. Patrick Rakowski boots it into the sky. Maybe a minute left after all the stoppages we've had in stoppage time. Out for a Phoenix Rising throw. Perhaps one more final attack for Phoenix to look to double their lead before the break. You think they're calling him Harvey Neville, or you think they're referring to him as 77?
I think 77 would be
there.
I think 77 would be polite. Little fake high five there from TJ and Neville as we're talking about that.
Thrown to the corner, touched out by Neville. That'll be the half. 2 whistles from Brad Jensen, Ronan. Phoenix score early. They managed this game to this point in time. Not too much going forward since the goal, but San Antonio has hardly had much as well.
Assuming the game plan is, hey, we're going to press, we're going to get on them early, and once we get that pressure that we want, maybe come away with the goal, we start to step back, let them play their game, and then try to get on the counterattack and couple those opportunities. If that was the game plan laid out by Coach Bob, the execution for Phoenix Rising, flawless.
The word we brought up in the first half, the word that was brought up in the midweek media press conference, maturity. That's what Phoenix need the rest of this match.
No mistakes. No mistakes. The only mistakes you make is those creative mistakes moving forward. You know, those final brush strokes before you get in on goal, if you will. Those mistakes you can make, right? Happy little accidents, I think Bob Ross called it. But you don't want to make mistakes at your own end. Those are technical errors that can cost you games.
So a mistake-free, stable first half for Phoenix Rising in their final home regular season game at 38th and Washington. Fan Appreciation Night and Dollar Beer Night has so far been a success for Phoenix. They lead San Antonio FC 1-0 at the break on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network. Stay here. We'll come back for the halftime report after 3.5 minutes of messages from our sponsors.
Every day we take steps to keep the people we love safe, but some health risks are easy to miss. Ticks hiding in the yard can spread germs, like the ones that cause Lyme disease. Mice searching for food can spread bacteria that makes us sick. Mosquitoes lay eggs in standing water and can spread West Nile virus and more. Cockroaches are drawn to water in the home, leaving behind allergens that can trigger asthma attacks. Common pests can threaten our health. Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org.
Many Americans have missed regular dental care in the past few years. It's important to see a dentist twice a year to identify any problems early. Taking care of your oral health helps overall health. Brushing at least twice a day with fluoride toothpaste and flossing daily can help prevent oral health problems. For more information, visit hrsa.gov/oral-health.
This high school gym used to be packed most nights. Not anymore. Do you know why? Because bad behavior by fans, especially adults, has caused a shortage of game officials across the country. You see, without officials, we can't have sports. Don't let this become reality. It's time for a change. Let's bench bad behavior for good.
What would you give for a child you loved? To make their wish come true? To help them fight a critical illness? Just imagine what you'd do. You see, wishes are so powerful, and you can make them real. They can give a child back their childhood, even change the way they feel. Every single one of us can make the stars align, because when we come together, hope and joy will shine. Wishes need stars like you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
I'm Naheem Hines, proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom has muscular dystrophy, and the MDA helps her and kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan, and I'm 12 years old. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. And MDA funds over 150 care centers for kids like me.
For over 70 years, MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and related neuromuscular diseases. Learn more at mda.org today.
The Supplemental Security Income Program provides monthly payments to help meet basic needs, like putting food on the table, paying the rent, or buying new shoes for growing feet. You may qualify if your income and financial resources are low, and you are 65 or older, or an adult or child with a disability, or who is blind. Call 1-800-772-1213 or go to ssa.gov/SSI to start to apply. Produced by Social Security at U.S. taxpayer expense.
The sun's shining, birds are singing, and all feels right in the world.
Until the season changes, and suddenly you lose your motivation to get out of bed. In fact, 1 in 5 people experience some form of depression, no matter the season or time of year.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, our vision is to build a mentally healthy nation for all, because we want you to live your best life and be your best you all year round.
Please visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
Now we go back to the field to break down the first half action with the Rising Radio halftime report on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
So back here on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network for the halftime report, we'll give you the scores from around the league in the USL Championship. Phoenix Rising leading 1-0 over San Antonio at the break. A goal from Charlie Dennis in the 11th minute. Charleston drew 1-1 with Detroit at home. That's a big result for DCFC, who cling on to a playoff spot by a point in the Eastern Conference at the moment. Atez Juve with an equalizer in the 67th minute. 0-0 between North Carolina and Rhode Island. Rhode Island still with stuff to do heading into the last week, the reigning Eastern Conference champs. Tampa 3-2 over Hartford. Former Rising man Manuel Arteaga scores in that one for Tampa Bay. Hartford has yet to clinch a home playoff spot with that defeat. Some teams can catch them. The big one tonight for Phoenix Rising fans, Colorado Springs Switchbacks 1, Las Vegas Lights 0. That means Phoenix, as it stands, cannot clinch a playoff spot with a win tonight, even if they go their way. So they could still be in danger next week, even with this result over San Antonio this evening. El Paso draw. El Paso 1, FC Tulsa 1, which means if Phoenix win tonight and win next week, and El Paso drop points next week, Phoenix could host a playoff game. 92nd minute winner, or equalizer I should say, from Lukic for Tulsa is huge news for Phoenix Rising fans. 1-1 in West Texas, the final score. Indy 11 2-1 over Loudoun United. Bruno Rendon scores a brace and keeps Indy's postseason hopes alive. Phoenix go to Pittsburgh next week, who are leading 1-0 over Monterey Bay at halftime. Sean Suber with the lone goal in that one. 0-0 between Orange County and Louisville. That's a big one looking down the table for Phoenix, who could still be very much eliminated from postseason contention. And again, Charlie Dennis with the lone goal in the first half here from 38th in Washington in the 11th minute, assisted by Darius Johnson. The stats read 56% of the ball for San Antonio. 4 shots, 2 on target for Phoenix. They lead both categories on that front. I've been Ryan Sikora with the Out-of-Town Scoreboard and the stats from this one on the Phoenix Rising halftime report. We'll come back. We'll break this one down. Ronan Haycoop will get the headset back on after this quick break on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
Every day we take steps to keep the people we love safe, but some health risks are easy to miss. Ticks hiding in the yard can spread germs, like the ones that cause Lyme disease. Mice searching for food can spread bacteria that makes us sick. Mosquitoes lay eggs in standing water and can spread West Nile virus and more. Cockroaches are drawn to water in the home, leaving behind allergens that can trigger asthma attacks. Common pests can threaten our health. Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org.
Many Americans have missed regular dental care in the past few years. It's important to see a dentist twice a year to identify any problems early. Taking care of your oral health helps overall health. Brushing at least twice a day with fluoride toothpaste and flossing daily can help prevent oral health problems. For more information, visit hrsa.gov/oral-health.
This high school gym used to be packed most nights. Not anymore. Do you know why? Because bad behavior by fans, especially adults, has caused a shortage of game officials across the country. You see, without officials, we can't have sports. Don't let this become reality. It's time for a change. Let's bench bad behavior for good.
What would you give for a child you loved? To make their wish come true? To help them fight a critical illness? Just imagine what you'd do. You see, wishes are so powerful, and you can make them real. They can give a child back their childhood, even change the way they feel. Every single one of us can make the stars align, because when we come together, hope and joy will shine. Wishes need stars like you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
I'm Naheem Hines, proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom has muscular dystrophy, and the MDA helps her and kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan, and I'm 12 years old. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. And MDA funds over 150 care centers for kids like me.
For over 70 years, MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and related neuromuscular diseases. Learn more at MDA.org today.
The Supplemental Security Income Program provides monthly payments to help meet basic needs, like putting food on the table, paying the rent, or buying new shoes for growing feet. You may qualify if your income and financial resources are low, and you are 65 or older, or an adult or child with a disability, or who is blind. Call 1-800-772-1213 or go to ssa.gov/SSI to start to apply. Produced by Social Security at U.S. taxpayer expense.
The sun's shining, birds are singing, and all feels right in the world.
Until the season changes and suddenly you lose your motivation to get out of bed. In fact, 1 in 5 people experience some form of depression, no matter the season or time of year.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, our vision is to build a mentally healthy nation for all, because we want you to live your best life and be your best you all year round.
Please visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
You're listening to the Rising Radio Halftime Report on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
Back here at 38th in Washington, Phoenix Rising 1, San Antonio FC 0. Ryan Sikora, Ronan Haycoop. It was about as good of a first 15 minutes as you could write up for Phoenix Rising, and about as good as the last 15 minutes that first half could have been for Phoenix Rising because of some scores from elsewhere. Now Phoenix Rising has 45 minutes to put themselves in A1 position towards the tail end of the season. Ronan, more of the same has to continue for this football club?
Yeah, I think especially for Phoenix Rising, it'll be important to realize, like, hey, it's only 1-0. This game is not won by any stretch of the imagination. You have to come out with that same energy that you came into the game with and headed into the locker room with, right? You have to keep that same maturity that we keep harping on to understand that, hey, it's 1-0. The game is not done. There's 3 points to be had on this field tonight. So for Phoenix Rising, coming out with that same energy will be important, and also, too, having that same fire and that swagger that we like to see from them, that they're riding from that result in Cary, North Carolina just a week ago.
Phoenix Rising has to find a way to stay stable. San Antonio, what can they change?
I think from San Antonio, they need to stop being so complacent in their possession. They need to find a way to break down this middle of midfield, this back kind of just chunk of Phoenix Rising players when they get those 10 behind the ball, that low block that Americans so lovingly like to call it. But for you, Ryan Sikora, to answer your question rather, I think for San Antonio, it'll come down to maybe some change, maybe some fresh blood. I think at this point, this game is going to get a lot more physical, and for San Antonio, that plays into their advantage. They like to play physical, and taking advantage of those counterattack opportunities when Rising comes out and pressing, that will be the key to unlocking this game.
So Phoenix Rising 1, San Antonio FC 0. 45 minutes gone in this match. Phoenix have 45 plus stoppage time in the second half to try and secure 6 points on the bounce, and maybe, just maybe, keep their playoff hopes in terms of hosting a match very much alive. We'll take a break for 60 seconds and come back for the second half here on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
Every day we take steps to keep the people we love safe, but some health risks are easy to miss. Ticks hiding in the yard can spread germs, like the ones that cause Lyme disease. Mice searching for food can spread bacteria that makes us sick. Mosquitoes lay eggs in standing water and can spread West Nile virus and more. Cockroaches are drawn to water in the home, leaving behind allergens that can trigger asthma attacks. Common pests can threaten our health. Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org.
Many Americans have missed regular dental care in the past few years. It's important to see a dentist twice a year to identify any problems early. Taking care of your oral health helps overall health. Brushing at least twice a day with fluoride toothpaste and flossing daily can help prevent oral health problems. For more information, visit hrsa.gov/oral-health.
Let's get into the action. Phoenix Rising Soccer, live now on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
So we said 60 seconds, and back we are on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network. One half in the books, and Phoenix Rising found a goal in the 11th minute from oh-so-sweet Charlie Dennis, who continues to claim opportunity after opportunity for Phoenix over this home stretch of the season. 1-0 the score at the break. Ryan Sikora, Ronan Haycoop. Ronan, it just needs to be the same as it was last week for Phoenix in North Carolina when they rolled to a 2-0 win on the road against North Carolina FC.
And you'd love to get one early here in the second half and then be able to sit back in that low block and really game manage the same way that they did in that first half post the 25th minute. Instead, split from that press that we've been talking about to more of a passive low block. And it makes it difficult for San Antonio to really get in rhythm with their possession and really figure out ways to counteract the tactics that Coach Pa is putting out from the Phoenix Rising side of things. So it's kind of at the point where you don't really know what's going to happen here.
Both sides stay the same after 45 minutes. San Antonio controlled the lion's share of the ball, but could not create too much against Phoenix's fine back five. We are off and running in the second half from 38th and Washington. San Antonio start the kickoff. They'll swap sides and go from right to left now towards the north end. Phoenix will trace towards the south end. And the Banditos on this Saturday night, 6,000 plus in attendance for this final home game of the season. Harvey Neville is on it, 25 ticks in to the second half. Ryan Sikora, Ronan Haycoop. Engineer tonight is Casey Smith. Technical director is Chris Schubert back in studio. KDUS AM 1060 and the Phoenix Rising Radio Network on the Phoenix Rising social media pages, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. On the ball is Mohamed Omar, dropping deep for San Antonio, stirring the drink, and wide it goes for Mitchell Tainter. A minute into this first half, I would imagine, Ronan, San Antonio have 65% of the ball in the second half.
You'd imagine so, especially if Rising is comfortable with the 1-0 that it appears that they have. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that press come back if San Antonio starts to get chances moving forward. It really will depend. If you can hold them at midfield the rest of the game, by all means do it.
Game is all about hustle, all about effort, but also about rhythm as well. In San Antonio, we're allowed to have the rhythm of that first half for the final 15 minutes of it. We will see how much that carries over into the second half. Final home game of the year for a Phoenix Rising team that's looking for just its fourth win at home. And its third stretch this season with back-to-back wins. It's been a tough year once again for Phoenix Rising. Tainter slips through Charlie Dennis, left side, attacking half. Clips the ball high and left. Ryan Flood read it well out of the air. And out for a San Antonio throw. Jorge Hernandez ducks to his right foot, now gets onto his preferred left, crosses to the back post. No runners as Jorge Hernandez overhit it. Three-time All-League first teamer. He's got a shout at first team once again for the fourth time this year, though the number 10 position is rather stacked. Hope Avievu could be a feature in that. The Phoenix Rising number 10. Juan David Torres, the creative playmaker for Charleston Battery. Might have a MVP shout from that attacking midfield role. 3 minutes in, Rakowski goes long. Swahi wins it. Second ball, Hernandez, and now settled by Beron. Wide it goes. Feet of Harvey Neville. Neville, wide right. Further still, Jorge Hernandez, and then Harvey Neville underlapping, flashing some pace. Seen out by Asenge. And Phoenix Rising earn a goal kick. Phoenix team this season have dropped the 13th most points in the league from winning positions. That's 13 points, right in the middle of the pack. San Antonio among the top 10 in points gained from losing positions, 10th to be exact. They've taken 9 points from trailing positions in matches this season. 29th game for both of these teams. Live table has Phoenix on 39 points, clearing the gap, and a yellow card has been issued, I believe, to Charlie Dennis. That'd be kind of early, frustrating, not fantastic. Free kick, San Antonio. So as it stands, that's the third name in the book. It is Charlie Dennis, second rising player, joins Darius Johnson. Almir Soto has a yellow card for San Antonio, who've got the ball, keeping it in their own half. Rising step up the line a little bit. Swahi, Soto, pokes it. Hawkinson, and then Tainter. The Texans will keep it. They've been a pretty solid team away from home. 4-5-5 on the road. That's one of the better marks in the championship this year. San Antonio, that is, who are obviously the road team tonight. I cannot believe, and this will be the last time, and then we'll probably try and focus on the game, I'd say. I cannot believe El Paso blew the 1-0 lead late. Phoenix are still in with a shot, Ronan, of hosting a playoff game late in the year in which it could finish just barely above 500. Service into the box, comes in, Patino, claimed by Rakowski, immediately falls on it, and the games have begun time-wasting-wise for Phoenix.
It's always a fun last 4 weeks of the Western Conference schedule, like clockwork every year.
The Western Conference has the last 5 winners of the USL Championship title. Charlie Dennis into space, Darius Johnson in the box, shoved to the ground, no whistle from the referee. From behind went the defender. Darius Johnson on 2 knees at the penalty circle is down on the ground. He cannot believe it. San Antonio the other way, 51st, battling for position. Hawkinson, Potmar Boy wanted back off of him. And now Colin Smith and Hope Avievu, and wow, could that have been a penalty, Ronan Haku?
That's a penalty. That's a penalty, Ryan. I mean, you try to not comment because obviously the ref's got the best view, but that's clear as day. You would almost think Colin Smith took an extra touch, right? He blew it, and then he gets fouled.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a penalty
Darius
kick.
Johnson diving in on a good bit of service on a great ball behind to Charlie Dennis, who then played it into the feet of DJ, who was dragged to the ground, a hard shoulder through his back. And it's not a penalty, no VAR in the USL Championship. Phoenix Rising have the ball, 52nd minute. Hamadou Ka was giving the 4th official a piece of his mind. The referee, Brad Jensen, electing not to point to the spot in what could have been a crucial second goal for Phoenix, who in the live table are now 5th. Now 5th in the live table, just 2 points behind El Paso Locomotive, 2 points in front of San Antonio FC, and Rising will have all but clinched a playoff spot as it stands. That could have been a massive point in the favor of Phoenix. Instead, it's still 1-0.
And it's going to be very important from Rising now to have that maturity that we keep harping on again and again, that Coach Pa talked about in the midweek. Ryan is continuing. Hey, that was a decision made by an official. We can't go back and control it. It needs to be something better. It needs to be something different. We have to continue to keep going.
Again, worth noting, the referee does have the best angle, as Ronan pointed out. He's the be-all, end-all in this league. Hawkinson slipped under his foot. Phoenix have it. 53rd, Morsu, great forward touch. He's been spectacular tonight. And now Dennis, and then Avievu. Hope Avievu in behind. Johnson rounds the keeper, touched away. Dennis shot saved. Charlie Dennis chipping to the back post. Avievu attacks it. Off the ground, it bounces into the hands of Sanchez. Nearly a second again for Phoenix. Saint slips, and Patino is in. And Asenge's arrived, and Popmore Boy covered ground and got it back for Phoenix. The back three works superbly to cover the central center back, Carl Saint, who slipped. And Asenge and Boy combined to strip Patino of the ball and keep it 1-0. End-to-end stuff now at 38th and Washington.
And Saint was getting handsy there. You were almost worried that a foul could be called. Would have been detrimental there, but Pop, just out of nowhere, you didn't even see him, and then all of a sudden he had the ball. Just a fantastic play from him, showing why he's the anchor of this defense and wearing the armband.
It's been good to see the Clemson kid, the captain, back in form. Ball wide, Avievu searching for the run of Johnson. Swept up by Sanchez for San Antonio. Who's going to step up in this game for these two teams? You have Santiago Patino, who's the leading goal scorer in San Antonio FC history, leading the line tonight. You have Hope Avievu, who's well on his way to an all-league season, the number 10 for Phoenix. Charlie Dennis has been spectacular down the stretch. Luke Hawkinson has been great spurts this season for SAFC, who are venturing forward now. Harvey Neville down the right side, looking to cross in for Hawkinson. It's blocked out by Ryan Flood. 55th minute, 1-0. Second half that will almost certainly see a bevy of blasts towards the goal box. Both these teams will be eager, one to grab the equalizer, one to grab a second. Dennis strips Tainter, and Tainter stole it back. Mitchell Tainter, the captain, on the ball for the Texans. The Alamo City Club stretching their legs. Jorge Hernandez arriving on the ball. His white boots, white socks, down the line, cut off by Asenge. Does a circular turn, skips a line, right into the feet of a San Antonio player, up in the box, Patino making a run. Over his head, and Rakowski will claim it. Morsu receives and finds Dennis. Charlie Dennis kept it in touch, good sliding challenge by Jimmy Medranda. Throwing Phoenix Rising in its own half. Medranda thought that had gone off Dennis's leg last.
I think I might agree with him.
Blowing Rising, right side, middle park. There's a good challenge. 18th all-time meeting between Phoenix and San Antonio, separated by absolutely nothing. 7 wins for each. Trio of draws. Flicked on Johnson. This is good stuff from Rising. Ryan Flood's arrived. He's crossed it into the box. It's headed away by Tainter. Phoenix just sprinted down the left side to create a chance. Last touch stop Flood. Throw in San Antonio. Third meeting in 2025. Phoenix won earlier this year, all the way back in April in the Alamo City. That was Rising's first win of the season. It had been a really poor start to the year for Phoenix. And it all kind of came around in an emotional release in San Antonio. Remy Cabral scoring a penalty, Gerald Margarita scoring the winner on the break. And then the second meeting in the USL Jägermeister Cup, Ronan, which could only probably be described as the most hapless performance of Phoenix's season. Not a shot on target and a 1-0 defeat at home. In behind, Avievu, he's onside, he's at the byline. Hope Avievu crossing hard, nobody got a foot to it. Sanchez, it slipped underneath him. Charlie Dennis had arrived, but not quick enough. Out for a throw or a goal kick? Goal kick, but Charlie Dennis could have had his second.
Yeah, that one's got to be super close. Would love to get the replay of that one from Charlie. That was a great ball in, and this is why this attacking unit for Phoenix Rising has been so great tonight. Has been the diversity. There's been 4 different players, whether it be Hope, Dennis, whoever, getting on the ball and moving up forward. It's been very tough for San Antonio to deal with.
Lucio Barron is fouled in the middle of the park by Hope Avievu on a good counter by San Antonio. 40 yards away from goal. The visitors will have a free kick dead center of the pitch. 1-0 Phoenix. Relationships are everything in the sport. comfort level with a center back partner or partners in the case of Phoenix. The wingbacks connecting with the wingers or the 10s. Teams are built on partnerships and how they play together.
And for Phoenix Rising, that's been one of the biggest issues. First-year head coach with the lack of continuity within the own roster due to injuries and everything like that, all the different 11s.
29 in 29 matches for Phoenix Rising in the championship. Do you extend that to all competitions? Well, Pamadou Ka has never coached a game. Slipping away was Phoenix. A shot from Morsu! Sanchez was 45 yards away from his goal. San Antonio slipped. Jean-Henrique Morsu claimed it in the midfield, shot it from 50 yards out, and it rolls 5 yards wide of the goalpost. It was a poor possession from San Antonio. Great read from Morsu, who then struck it high but struck it wide. Still 1-0. Other way, San Antonio. Hernandez down for Patino. Morsu's on it. Morsu's been taken off of it. No foul. Morsu's on the ground. Switching play is SAFC. Feet of Harvey Neville, the former Phoenix man on loan from the club tonight. Crossing low, picking up a corner kick. Morsu's back up to his feet. Oh, near disaster for a San Antonio team that has not been able to buy an ounce of luck over the last month.
That looked good for about the first 45 yards at least.
He was celebrating, Jean Morsu. He was halfway to his coach's area to go hug his manager. And then he fell to the ground with such great theatrical ability. He looked like he was on a Broadway stage. 6-6 from Jorge Hernandez. It's good service. It's up there. Back post Medranda. Away but not out, and then Morsu cleared. Flood whiffed on it. Should have cleared it better. The other change, Kyle Linhares, has also come into the game. Sanchez well away from his goal once more. Pressured by Aveyevu, cleared away. And throw in for Phoenix Rising. Luke Hawkinson taken out of this game. And it appears to be Alexi Swahi. Either he or Almir Soto has come out. Could not quite hear the PA. Hawkinson exited. It's tough to identify stuff when the game has been played at the pace that this one has been. An hour in. Phoenix 1, San Antonio 0. Third meeting of the year. It makes sense to take Soto off the pitch on a yellow card. Hernandez sprinting. Linhares collecting. Tried to get it back to Patino. Dennis flicking on. Morsu bumped into on the side. No foul again, says Brad Jensen, who has let them play in the second half. Kyle Linhares. Jorge Hernandez and Linhares. And Kyle, wide it goes, Patino, and cleared by Boyd. The captain comes up with a defensive action. Out of touch, San Antonio throw.
Morsu, it was mostly legal contact with the shoulder to shoulder, but I think he's trying to say that an elbow, kind of caught up there on his jaw, but I don't think he's going to get that call ever.
Jorge Hernandez, so many pretty pocket players out there for San Antonio. This is a driven ball, grass cutter on the ground for Neville. Crossing in is Harvey Neville from the right, blocked by Ryan Flood. You just get the sense that it's going to be a defensive dynamo type of game for Phoenix if they want to find 3 points tonight at home in the final home game of the year. 1-0 they lead, an 11th minute goal. They've defended ever since. Tainter on it for San Antonio. Switching play, Harvey Neville. Poor first touch, great second touch to slip underneath Darius Johnson. Those two have had plenty of exchanges this evening. Omar Dolenmeyer on loan from El Paso Locomotive. Played a ton last year for one of the worst teams in the West. Did not play too much for this team. Pace to be 6-6. Ball in. Feet, Patino slipping underneath Saint. Patino working hard to get it off of Senge, and he worked a little too hard. He shoved the Senge to the ground. Free kick, Phoenix Rising in their own penalty area. 64th minute.
And you're starting to get a sense of that San Antonio frustration starting to boil over. Just the body language and the way they're addressing the officials and the Rising players at these set pieces. The fuse is getting shorter and shorter for San Antonio.
Phoenix will probably squeeze every second of this clock they can the rest of the night. That was the thing they did so well in North Carolina that went a little bit under the radar. Saint in his own box, shoving long. Up for Colin Smith, flicking it forward. Charlie Dennis couldn't keep it in touch. Well ushered out by Mitch Tainer. We are nearing 450 minutes for San Antonio FC without a goal.
Oof.
A side who, before this little drought, were amongst the top 10 in the league in goals scored. They have now slipped down to 15th. Ball over the top. Flood, treat it. On the left side, he'll clear it, out for a throw. Good stuff from San Antonio to put the left back of Phoenix under pressure. Jorge Hernandez stepping, striking off the backside of Morsu. Still with San Antonio, 30 yards away. Harvey Neville on his left foot, up for Rakowski, falls to the floor. Lots of contact between Patino and Boy.
Pop's laughing. He even said, look, pointing at Patino and gesturing to the center official like, hey, are you watching this guy?
It's good to see a smile on Pop Marboy's face. Rakowski will punt it away. Dennis down. Avayevu keeping. Morsu. Avayevu. Right side rising. Smith. Been quieter today than last week, though hard to meet the expectations of a week ago. Colin Smith continuing, as if he heard me. Down for Avayevu, defended well by Madronda, and a foul on Avayevu. Hope just took the chair out from underneath Jimmy Madronda. And it's a free kick for San Antonio in their own box. 66th minute. 1-0, Rising in front. 24 minutes and change away from a second straight win and a second straight clean sheet for the second time this year, and could all but clinch a playoff spot. They would not be mathematically in, but basically in. It would be just 2 points adrift of a home game. Hernandez, of which this club has not seen a home playoff match since the year 2021.
Yeah, get stuck in,
Out of touch, great challenge. Smith, throw in San Antonio. That 2021 year, Phoenix Rising was the #1 seed in the Western Conference, as was typical at the time for the club. And they got upended by RGV Toros in the first round. Some guy named Babacar Jai went on a mazy run and scored a brilliant goal for RGV. Was signed by Phoenix the very next summer. It's like, hey, you're good, man. You're the guy.
Devin Henderson would be so happy.
And Phoenix Rising has not been back to the playoffs in a home game since. Title run all on the road in 23, a road defeat in 24, missed it entirely in 22. And right now, as it stands, a trip to El Paso in the first weekend of November. But that could all flip if results go Phoenix's way next weekend. They travel all the way across the country to a soaring Pittsburgh Riverhounds side, who are facing potential home playoff positioning as well on their front. And San Antonio, who, as we've already discussed, can't buy a goal at the moment, are playing El Paso. So you would need Rising to win this game, San Antonio to draw or beat El Paso, and Rising would need to beat Pittsburgh Riverhounds. That's the math and play there. Still 23 minutes plus left in this game. Perron slipping through, left by Madronda, wide left, Kyle Linhares. The New Jersey native serving in, away by Akello. Kept by San Antonio only as far as Mohamed Omar. A plane whips by at the airport just to our south. The central location that Phoenix fought for so many years would love a taste of a Rising victory on their night, Fan Appreciation Night. 7,000 in the crowd at least. Sanchez long, the goalkeeper for SAFC. One out of the air by Asenge, 50-50. And Aveyevu met Dolan Meyer, and 5-7 met 6-6. You can already guess who won that battle. Over the top, Sanchez, perfectly weighted. And Juarez touching, now in the attacking half. Shot from Medranda, covered by Rakovsky. It's over the bar for a goal kick, 69th. A playoff push for Phoenix Rising. They found form at the right time, Ronan. Pittsburgh still 1-0 in front on Monterey Bay in the 73rd. Orange County 0, Louisville City 0. Not much to play for Louisville, who have already clinched the Supporters' Shield as the #1 team. The Players' Shield is the #1 team, I should say. And will be the #1 seed in the Western Conference on the best season in league history, you could argue. Charlie Dennis jockeying for position. He's fouled by Mohamed Omar. Free kick, Phoenix just inside the attacking half. And Pittsburgh has just taken a 2-0 lead in Northern California. So Pittsburgh Riverhounds are going to waltz into Monterey and jump to 4th place in the East. A point clear of Loudoun, a point clear of North Carolina. Pittsburgh without their coach Bob Lilly, who was put on administrative leave 2 weeks ago. Foul, Middle Park, late whistle, Phoenix free kick, 71st. Phoenix Rising with the advantage. 2 more changes for San Antonio, who have now made 4. Reese Buckmaster is into the game. Alex Grieve is into the game. Santiago Patino sacrificed in the 71st for the New Zealand man, Alex Grieve. Harvey Neville's night is done. Reese Buckmaster will come in. A much more attacking player in that right back spot.
Just looking at this table too, Ryan, it's going to be a very interesting derby for San Antonio at home, because El Paso now has to play to keep that playoff spot. They have to come away with the result. Otherwise, you let Rising have the opportunity to jump you.
As it stands, El Paso has clinched a playoff spot, not a home spot. Charlie Dennis turning, center park, untouched as he whips it wide for Ryan Flood. Phoenix have made just the one change. It was Flood in the first half, replacing the injured Daniel Flores. We'll have to get an answer on that one sometime in the week, ahead of the important clash next week. Johnson darting, diving, chasing down a ball in the box. Captain play by San Antonio, and lifted along by the visitors. Grieve in the air, touched by Saint. Out of play it goes for a Phoenix throw, 72nd. Akello pressed, Akello clattered in, and that's a foul on Noble Akello, who's getting the start tonight because J.P. Skeers is not 100%. Skeers is on the bench for Phoenix this evening. You'd have to imagine he plays. He's worn the captain's armband the last couple of weeks for Rising in stretches. 73rd. Look at that. Harvey Neville's having a clap to everybody. He's saying hello to everybody except Pamadou Ka, who's maybe a little too busy, I'd imagine. Maybe some bad blood, that's speculative. Again, Neville on loan from Phoenix Rising, playing against his parent club, which is rare. Mohamed Omar, touched wide, serving in from deep. It'll bounce about, poorly cleared. Omar rifles into the box. Linhares, Hernandez. Omar directing. Again, Swahi in the box. Saint in the air. Still alive for San Antonio. Buckmaster, Boy. Pop couldn't get it. Medranda's chasing it down. Every bit of his 31-year-old legs. Tainter, Omar, Linhares, heavy touch. Carl Saint, Colin Smith in his own half. Chip for Hope Aveyevu. Tried to win a free kick, couldn't bait the defender into it. Throw in San Antonio attacking third. And now they'll go back to the midfield line.
Just a tough one to deal with from Hope there. That is the one issue with the low block. Transitioning sometimes when you sit in that low block for so long is so difficult because players frequently get out of position in terms of your offensive shape because you're so worried about getting behind the ball and getting in front of defenders.
Jorge Hernandez is in behind the defenders. Now he's been forced back. Grieve with a touch for San Antonio, just outside the 18, bouncing about, and Darius Johnson came into the challenge. Alex Grieve handled the ball as it bounced up into the air. Free kick Phoenix. They'll make their first 2 changes of the night. Isan Nino Sacco, the first to come in for Phoenix Rising. Who will he replace? It'll be Darius Johnson off the left. Sacco in for Johnson. JP Skiers is going to come in for Noble Okello. Good 75 minutes for Noble and DJ. They're replaced, and 2 traditional starters for Phoenix will come in to try and close this match out. 1-0 Rising, 15 plus stoppage to go.
Where does Sacco rank on our hairstyle changes throughout the season? He's got to be up there.
He's top 3 or 4. He's got the afro rolling today. Looks very good in the black retro kit for what it's worth. It's a good choice. Noah Dolenmeyer, the center back, 6'6", looks like an elephant in a china shop. No, not a bull. I did mean to say elephant just because he's so large. And he lost the ball in the attacking third. He had nowhere to go. Throw in for Phoenix Rising. Left side, their own half. A bull in the china shop would be like Jean-Eric Morceau, who's been special tonight for Phoenix Rising. Boy on the ball. Rising in their black shirts, venturing forward again. Colin Smith continues his run. Does he have the pace? No, I think he pulled a muscle. Oh, no. Oh, no, no, no. Another non-contact injury for Phoenix Rising. Colin Smith raced through one, turned left as he was leaning right, and he either immediately grabbed his ankle or his groin, 2 very different places.
I'm just hoping it's not the knee.
If it's the knee, that's even worse.
It was on the explosion. He got around, and then the second he played that second touch around, he shot off the touch line. And
so we'll see. That's not great. Smith has been so good the last 200 or so minutes at this point when you account for the stoppage time in North Carolina and the end of the game against New Mexico, where Rising were creating so much out of a back 3 shape, trying to chase that game. But in the back 3 as a wingback, he's been so much better. There are no natural fullbacks on the bench for Phoenix Rising. It's Pierce Rizzo, who's deputized as a right back this year for spurts in a back 4, but is more of a midfielder by change. Xion Emmers is a midfielder who can be busy out wide. Kelvin Araze is back on the bench tonight for the first time in a while, a very athletic front-footed forward. That's really about it, and it looks like Pierce Rizzo, number 88, the Academy graduate, 18 years old, Pinnacle High School graduate who scored a goal earlier this year against Tampa, backed it up with a great strike a week later. The youngest goal scorer in club history. He's going to come into this game to replace Colin Smith. You worry about the nature of his injury in the 78th minute now. Mohamed Omar, in the meantime, is going to exit this match for San Antonio FC. Nicky Hernandez is going to come in for San Antonio. Midfielder for midfielder, more attacking player for more defensive player. Hernandez was part of the New Mexico team that beat Phoenix Rising in the postseason last year. Colin Smith is still on the ground. He is being helped up. Let's see what he favors. He's walking. His knee doesn't seem to be too bad. It almost looks like a hamstring or a calf. But he's walking, so it's the best you can really ask for in that situation. Pierce Rizzo has come into this game. We've lost about 3 minutes to the clock there, Ronan.
Yeah, and he's putting some weight on that left leg, definitely favoring the right. But anytime it's a non-contact injury, it's just so unfortunate. Thankfully, natural grass here from 38th and Washington.
Dolenmeyer. Tainter on his weaker left foot, lifting long. Saint shuffling, shuttling, and shielding off the run of Alex Grieve to win a throw for Phoenix Rising. JP Skiers barking orders. He's in the midfield now next to Jean-Eric Morceau. Long throw, Skiers wins it. Dennis, heavy touch. Charlie Dennis continued. Aselasenge has it. Wide it goes for Ryan Flood. Phoenix on the left side in their own half. Chipped over the top by Flood. Feet of Sacco, couldn't collect. Sanchez steered the ship for SAFC. Flood through the backside of a San Antonio attacker. And it will be a foul, free kick, 80th minute. In their own half, San Antonio starts short. Dolenmeyer playing at the heart of a back three right now for San Antonio. Wide it goes Buckmaster. Into the middle, Grieve. Buckmaster and Dolenmeyer again. Center circle for the center back. Steps on it with his left. Slots it into the feet of Jorge Hernandez, who's dropping very deep. They're trying to get him and his creative talents on the ball more.
Yeah, just trying to find some ounce of creativity to break this low block from Rising.
All over the top, left by Saint, covered by Rakovsky, who is going to dribble, 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 and then scoop it up in his own box. It's the old, you get 6 seconds before you have to punt it away, so I'm going to take 20 seconds when I do get the ball, but I'm not going to touch it for 10 seconds before that.
It's funny how...
Math equationing.
It's funny how poorly that rule is. Might be the worst enforced rule in all of
It got called
sports.
a couple weeks ago at a Rising game. It was wild, because the new change is an immediate indirect free kick. There's a foul on a San Antonio player. Mitchell Tainter has a yellow card. Phoenix have a free kick. That is Charlie Dennis down on the ground.
Seems it to be a lot of pain. Right leg.
It's the theme tonight for Phoenix Rising. 2 changes, injury related. Rizzo coming in. Colin Smith coming out in the second half. The other wingback, Daniel Flores, off. Ryan Flood on. Greg Spence, the physio for Phoenix, has had a busy night.
I was about to say, he's earning his wage tonight. Grabbing the back of his right calf, lower calf.
Phoenix, for what it is worth, have used all 3 instances that they get to substitute as much as 5 players on the pitch. If you sub at halftime, it doesn't count to those, but Phoenix subbed during the first half for Flores. So if Rising were to have a Charlie Dennis who could not continue, they would have to play down a man. The only special circumstance you get for an extra substitution is concussion protocol, not calf protocol. It's not a thing. Charlie Dennis is up on his feet. He's going to tough it out. 83rd minute. Popmar Boy into the box, dealt with by Dolenmeyer. Dennis will keep it. Charlie's first touches as he gets beyond Tainter. Finds Rizzo, feet of Morceau. Cleared away by San Antonio, who now have to race up to pick up ground as Rakovsky will let it go into his box. And old man Pat will just pick it up again.
Why not?
That's the old circus show. Get you to laugh at something that's not super funny for some people in the room. Rizzo, good touch from the teenager. He's in trouble. Lynn Juarez challenging him. And Pop Marboy. And Charlie Dennis continuing the run is Pop Marboy. The center back is grabbed. Lots of contact between Tainter and Dennis that continued. Sacco swivels, slides, and slaps the back end of Barone and will promptly be placed into the book. 84th minute. There was a lot of contact off the ball between Dennis and Tainter. Never enough for the foul. But free kick San Antonio a couple of seconds later.
They were both holding on to each other, blaming the other for fouling them, and wouldn't let go in the process to force the foul out of the center official.
They were talking to the man in the mirror. He's pointing at you, I'm pointing at me. Wait. 84th. Grieve, touching wide, the striker substitute, crossing low, looking for Hernandez. Stabbed by Morsu. And long goes Phoenix down the left side. Avievu will chase down Dolenmeyer. Completes a pass to Sanchez. Along the ground for Tainter. In his own half, Mitchell Tainter, the captain, stepping onto his right foot. Back to the feet of Dolenmeyer. 85th minute, Phoenix scored in the 11th. That is the lone goal in his match. As Rising look to complete back-to-back clean sheets for the second time this season. Flood missed it. Flood fouled the San Antonio attacker. And it's a free kick for the visitors. Wreathed in white tonight. Looking for a late goal, which has been a theme across the championship this weekend.
I think we say that almost every other
Sure.
weekend.
Kill my narrative, why don't you? 92nd minute equalizer today in Tulsa. Lukic scored off the bench for the Scissor Tails. 86th. Into the box, Madronda. Up there, down. It was knotted along by Berron. Swept by Rutkowski. Outside of that, it was Tampa Bay soaring to a 3-0 lead, but almost giving it away with a couple of final 15-minute goals to Hartford. And last night was a just absolute barn burner. Probably the craziest game in the USL this year that did not feature Phoenix Rising. That's a foul. That's a yellow card. That is on Jean-Eric Morsu. Another name in the book, JP Skeers maybe as well. One of those two is in the area. Yesterday, Ron, I don't know if you watched it. Sacramento was 2-0 down out of the fight the entire game against Lexington. A Lexington win would have been a bad result for Phoenix. Sacramento scored in the 85th, the 90+2, and then the 90+4 before it was ruled out for offside. He was about a yard onside. So Sacramento almost stormed back with 2 stoppage time goals to get a win. 87th minute here. Phoenix has obviously had their share of late drama all season long. Most recently not in their favor against New Mexico. Clipped in, Tainter, Grieve arriving, header was poor. Down and out for a goal kick. Phoenix will take their time. And while we can, let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves here on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network. Back in play as the ball falls at the feet of Alex Grieve. Slipping was Nicky Hernandez. Pierce Rizzo lunging and clearing. Those of you listening on our digital feeds tonight who couldn't hear the identification, we're on KDUS AM 1060 locally in the Valley. Sunday Women's Basketball's on the way soon. You hear Jeff Munn. I think NAU football's pretty darn good this year. 88th. Phoenix Rising looking to find a late flurry of form headed into the postseason. A 2-0 win last week in North Carolina, their most confident, calm, mature performance of the season. Now could they make that 2 in a row with a result against San Antonio tonight, leading 1-0 thanks to an 11th minute finish from Charlie Dennis, his 7th of the season. Nicky Hernandez Clipping back, San Antonio keeping it. Noah Dolenmeyer is on it. Dolenmeyer, Jimmy Medranda directing traffic. Jorge Hernandez on it with his left, up at the back post, shoving away, Flood clears. Still just there for Phoenix. Avievu chesting wide, and Hope Avievu. Feet of Charlie Dennis, who turns left, looks up. Reisinger 3-on-5. Great defensive effort from San Antonio. Isan Sacco, Sean Morsu, and now Phoenix will secure possession and slow it down. In the second half, Ronan, San Antonio have had 65% of the ball, 2 shots, none on target.
I can't recall a low block executed like this by Phoenix Rising in a very long time, if not ever.
Rizzo on the ball. He's turned away. Pierce Rizzo, the academy kid off the bench, dancing, driving him onto the feet of Eric Morsu. Shot was blocked, cleared by Dolenmeyer. Overall, San Antonio's just had 4 shots in this match, just 1 on target, reaching a potential 5th game without putting a ball in the back of the net for the visitors tonight. Not the way you want to finish the regular season in the USL Championship. Dolenmeyer, Medranda, 90th minute. I'd imagine we get 5, 6, maybe more minutes of stoppage time. Tainter's on it. He's being waved left by the entire coaching staff of San Antonio in unison. Jorge Hernandez, that's why they want it left. His service is great. Headed away and up in the air for Rakowski to step to the sky and secure the big round ball. It will be 6 minutes of stoppage time at 38th and Washington at a minimum. They can play more, they cannot play less. Patrick Rakowski skyward. Out it goes. Rising throw. Every second will tick. Every breath will hang for Phoenix Rising. Charlie Dennis earns the throw in. Taken to ground. No foul right in front of Pamadou Ka. Urging his team to work. They gave it away late against New Mexico 2 weeks ago here at home. Sacco wins it back for Rising. And now looks forward, Isan Sacco. Defended by Buckmaster. Sacco switching play. Charlie Dennis touching. Charlie Dennis laying along for Hope Avievu. No shot got off. Good defending from San Antonio. Charlie Dennis may have had a window, but he wanted to get it on his left foot. 92nd minute, still 1-0. Other way comes San Antonio toward the north end as support exits the stands, trying to beat the traffic but not wanting to watch this thrilling finish at 38th and Washington. Touching wide, nowhere to go but backward for Buckmaster. Medranda on his left, beats Avievu to the ball, slices one in, blocked by Skiers. Right side Medranda, airborne it goes. Rakowski didn't have it really read. It was up for Dolenmeyer, wide of the post. It was nearly a goal from Jimmy Medranda. Instead, it's a goal kick for Phoenix.
That's a nervy one there.
Those aren't easy.
It's almost perfectly tucked in that back corner. It was definitely a ball, like you said, for Dolenmeyer, but it just kind of lofted itself towards the goal. Difficult one for Pat to judge. Thankfully, hits the post. Feel it.
Chested down by Charlie Dennis as Phoenix go long. 93rd. Rising in front. 3 minutes to go. Swahi, Medranda. All this talent on the pitch for San Antonio in terms of attackers, but the ideas have waned over the last month for the Texans, who are the best team in the league through May, but lost so much form in that span. Injuries have hampered them. Phoenix has dealt with them too. Boy clears for Phoenix. Throw in San Antonio, attacking third. Everybody back for Rising. All of them stretched within a 25-yard radius of each other in their own third. Tainter slings one, blocked by Avievu. Medranda deals with it, and back for Sanchez. 94th minute has arrived at 38th. fan appreciation night for Phoenix. Tainter, long, not at about. Perron wins it. Down for Medranda. Swahi up there. Swahi loses out. Foul on San Antonio. Phoenix free kick. Just outside their own 18, Jean Morceau is down on the ground. Rising again have no more subs to make without going down a man. Phoenix cannot afford an injury in the closing moments of this game. He's up. Morceau is. San Antonio.
Very methodical ball placement there from Pat.
Phoenix is here, looking for win number 9 in the championship this year and back-to-back wins here in October. You have to win late in the championship. With how tight it is in the league. Scarce heading forward. Claimed by Swahi. Back for Sanchez. Wide it goes, Medranda. Great ball first time. Feet of Dolenmeyer. And now Tainter. And he's looking long, and Saint is cleared. And Isan Sako will stretch to it. Play a terrible ball into the feet of Flood, who deals with it as well as he can and clears. 95th minute. 90 seconds to go in this match. Phoenix Rising 1, San Antonio FC 0. Tainter on his left, high and wide, wants the run off the right, headed away by Flood. Sako touching down in his own half, and Flood clears out of touch for a throw. Right side, own half, San Antonio FC. Running out of options in this match, running out of time. 55 seconds left. At a minimum, we could play a little longer than that. There hasn't been much in this stoppage time period. Up there for Grieve. Dolenmeyer nearly collapsed on it, and he collapses to the ground after it fell under his feet. Out for a Rising goal kick. Rakowski can waste the time, Ronan, and maybe give Phoenix its long-awaited moment at home.
That was a nervy one there at the back post, especially with somebody of the quality.
The size of Dolenmeyer.
The size, the quality. You just know he's there for that exact reason. And to give that up would have been absolutely devastating for this Rising team that's put together 96 fantastic minutes.
Rakowski long. Swept by San Antonio. One last passage for the visitors. Sanchez up in the air. Boy and Dolenmeyer battling. Grieve will win the 50-50. It's down for him. Alex Grieve settles his feet, serves it high. Nicky Hernandez is at the back post. We're into the 97th minute. Nicky Hernandez dancing outside the box, crossing to the back post. Boy heads away and cleared by Morceau. 3 sweet whistles. Sent celebration across the halls of 38th in Washington. Every seat ringing. And Phoenix Rising fall to the floor with 3 points added to their name on the table. A second straight win for Phoenix. They beat San Antonio FC 1-0 at home on the final home game of the regular season. Charlie Dennis's 11th minute strike, the difference for Phoenix. Patrick Rakowski keeps his second straight clean sheet. He meets with his captain outside of his own penalty box. An embrace between Rakowski and Popmore Boy. And Phoenix Rising move up to 5th in the Western Conference, sit preciously 2 points behind El Paso Locomotive. A Rising win and an El Paso dropping of points. And Phoenix Rising could once again play here in 2025. On the flip side, though, Rising have not yet clinched a playoff spot. And San Antonio teeter equally as precariously above the playoff line, Ronan Haycoop. The exact performance that Phoenix Rising needed to grasp here tonight.
A warm embrace between DJ and Coach Pa. DJ set up that Charlie Dennis 11th minute, now game winner for Phoenix Rising. And just to see the way this team battled today, the way this team fought, stuck to the game plan, you start to see that slight turn, right? The confidence, the swagger, and that comes with winning. And when you win and you are confident in your play, winning's fun. And that's why everybody who plays the sport does it, right?
Yeah.
It's fun, right? Playing the game of footy is fun, and Phoenix Rising looked like they had fun today on both ends, whether it be pressing, whether it be putting the ball in the back of the net, moving side to side, getting those overlapping runs, those overloads on the sides with those wing backs, with Colin, with Flood, with Flores. A lot of knocks were sustained today, though. It's definitely something to think about as you move ahead to Pittsburgh. You hope that Charlie and Flores especially can come back with that same quality. DJ as well. But for Phoenix Rising and for Coach Pa, it has to be a sense of relief to come away with one at home, especially because getting the result in Cary, North Carolina is, of course, amazing. You need to do that on the road if you want to be a top team in this championship. To do it in front of the fans on Fan Appreciation Night just means a little bit more.
Red smoke climbs higher from the South End's claim. The celebrations of the flags on Fan Appreciation Night. Phoenix show the performance needed, deserved maybe, for this fan base to get behind them for a potential postseason run. Rising 1, San Antonio 0. Stick with us. We'll break it down in the postgame wrap-up presented by Crown Public House. Charlie Dennis, the winner tonight. Of course it was him. He's been so good in the month of October. Spooky season for Phoenix has been anything but. We'll break it down on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network after this.
Every day we take steps to keep the people we love safe, but some health risks are easy to miss. Ticks hiding in the yard can spread germs, like the ones that cause Lyme disease. Mice searching for food can spread bacteria that makes us sick. Mosquitoes lay eggs in standing water and can spread West Nile virus and more. Cockroaches are drawn to water in the home, leaving behind allergens that can trigger asthma attacks. Common pests can threaten our health. Learn how to protect your family at Pest World.
To see a dentist twice a year to identify any problems early. Taking care of your oral health helps overall health. Brushing at least twice a day with fluoride toothpaste and flossing daily can help prevent oral health problems. For more information, visit hrsa.gov/oral-health.
This high school gym used to be packed most nights. Not anymore. Do you know why? Because bad behavior by fans, especially adults, has caused a shortage of game officials across the country. You see, without officials, we can't have sports. Don't let this become reality. It's time for a change. Let's bench bad behavior for good.
Time for one last kick of the ball on tonight's match. It's Rising Radio postgame wrap-up on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
First, a game of musical chairs tonight for Phoenix Rising, who flipped everything around all season long. 29th match in the championship, 29th different lineup. But this one got the job done that so few teams this year have done for Phoenix. 1-0 your final score at 38th in Washington here on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network. Ryan Sikora, Ronan Haycoop for the postgame wrap-up show presented by Crown Public House. Charlie Dennis in the 11th minute scores the eventual winner for Phoenix, created by Darius Johnson. And then Rising did the same as they did a week ago in a 2-0 win against North Carolina FC in Cary. They held firm. They stood pat. They dropped in. They were very mature. As Phoenix picks up the 1-0 result, moves to 39 points in the Western Conference, up to 5th in the West, 2 points off 4th place and home playoff positioned El Paso Locomotive in this win over San Antonio FC. Ronan Haycoop, back-to-back weeks of Phoenix Rising fighting fighting for the badge, and that's just fun to watch, even if the football isn't pretty.
And fighting for the badge is kind of the bare minimum to success, right? You have to have that pride. You have to wear, especially with a star above a badge like Phoenix Rising does have, you have to kind of keep that same energy and keep that same pride and just the overall success that this club has had at times. For Phoenix Rising, it starts with that, but to add to it, you need that consistency, you need that quality, you need everything, and you need a good game plan. And the game plan today was obviously the winner, and it was executed flawlessly by that talent.
And you need the talent to execute that game plan. Phoenix has been downright awful all year at the start of games. They've never really gotten a moment from the beginning of matches this year correct. The last 2 weeks, they've gotten the beginning, the middle, and the end absolutely spot on. Like any good movie, it's coming together for Phoenix Rising.
And we were talking about this during the New Mexico game. It's fine to be a second half team, but you'd always prefer to be the team that's always leading, right?
Yeah.
You always rather be in the winning. Winning's fun, like we talked about a few minutes ago. But for Phoenix Rising, it's going to be sustaining that success, right? Not allowing this to be kind of a fluke on your resume of a run of good form. It's about making it a standard and continuing to uphold that standard in the locker room, in training sessions, and of course, under the bright lights on Saturdays. So the championship is difficult. We saw with switchbacks, we've seen with Phoenix Rising themselves, teams can kind of come out of nowhere in the Western Conference, especially with 5 winners. So sky's the limit for this Phoenix Rising team. Am I going to forecast to get ahead of myself too much? No.
Yeah, but that's what we do.
That is part of the job. But for Phoenix Rising, looking ahead to next week, you got to come with that same hunger into Pittsburgh, because San Antonio, a team that is now scoreless through their last 5, is going to go into going to defend home against El Paso with that same hunger. So,
and Phoenix are not scotch-free yet. They have to get something out of the match in Pittsburgh to confirm a playoff spot now. 40 points should be enough. It typically is in a USL Championship season to make the playoffs. Pittsburgh are going to bring the hustle. They'll bring the grit. They always have. They always will. So you have to match that intensity if you're Phoenix Rising. And everybody in Rising Colors, folks, will be watching San Antonio next week as well because of who they play. San Antonio hosts El Paso Locomotive. If that game does not end in a San Antonio, in an El Paso win, I should say. So San Antonio gets something out of that match, and Rising win in Pittsburgh, we'll have a game here in 2 weeks' time. Phoenix will host a playoff game for the first time in 4 seasons. Quite the swing with 4 spots in the Western Conference playoffs still up for grabs. Phoenix could host. Phoenix could still miss the postseason.
And 3 weeks ago, the narrative was, will there be a playoff run at all for Phoenix Rising? And for that to swing so quickly, so dramatically, to the point where you might be hosting a game from 38th and Washington for the first time, just speaks volumes to this run of form, and also to just the buy-in from the players, and especially the form of one Brit wearing number 12 for Phoenix Rising.
Special in October. Charlie Dennis was the player of the week in the championship 3 weeks ago. Team of the week last week. He'll be there again this week, I'd imagine. You will focus a little bit on the negatives with Colin Smith and Daniel Flores picking up injuries, especially in a wingback system with a wingback shape where those two have been so great. Beyond that, a lot of positives tonight for Phoenix Rising. 5th clean sheet of the year, 2nd in a row for Patrick Rakovsky, who seems to be collecting his form in front of a back 3 that beautifully complements each other, even with Carl Saint in place of Rafael Shihus in the center of it tonight.
And especially, too, we talked about it briefly in that first half, especially when Flores and Colin Smith were your opposite wingbacks, is you have to have that front-facing talent, too, to make it dangerous enough that all the effort you're putting through on the offensive end is going to, in turn, take away from some of those defensive responsibilities. If Colin's a nightmare on that right wing, that left back is not going to want to run upfield, and that left winger is certainly not going to run upfield with that same tenacity if he's been being bullied on that right corner. So for Colin Smith, great game, hopefully healthy, but
I would say this. The manager, and it's cliche, but the manager said it 2 weeks ago, so I feel a little more comfortable saying. The Phoenix has to always rise. The Phoenix is never always the best. It's always from the ashes. This Phoenix team was dead and buried at points of the season, and here they are, maybe, just maybe, rising at the tail end of the season. 1-0 your final score. We'll give you the stats, final scores from around the league, player of the match, and we'll preview Pittsburgh next week when we come back on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
Every day we take steps to keep the people we love safe, but some health risks are easy to miss. Ticks hiding in the yard can spread germs, like the ones that cause Lyme disease. Mice searching for food can spread bacteria that makes us sick. Mosquitoes lay eggs in standing water and can spread West Nile virus and more. Cockroaches are drawn to water in the home, leaving behind allergens that can trigger asthma attacks. Common pests can threaten our health. Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org.
Many Americans have missed regular dental care in the past few years. It's important to see a dentist twice a year to identify any problems early. Taking care of your oral health helps overall health. Brushing at least twice a day with fluoride toothpaste and flossing daily can help prevent oral health problems. For more information, visit hrsa.gov/oral-health.
This high school gym used to be packed most nights. Not anymore. Do you know why? Because bad behavior by fans, especially adults, has caused a shortage of game officials across the country. You see, without officials, we can't have sports. Don't let this become reality. It's time for a change. Let's bench bad behavior for good.
This is the Rising Radio post-game wrap-up on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
Welcome back to Phoenix Rising Soccer Stadium, better known as 38th in Washington, here on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network. Ryan Sikora, Ronan Haku. Following a Phoenix Rising win 1-0 over San Antonio FC, the second consecutive 3 points for Phoenix Rising has put the club just 2 points off of fourth in the Western Conference and very, very close to a home playoff game with some help next week. They can get a point next week against Pittsburgh and confirm a playoff spot. That's the story heading into match day 30 in the USL Championship for Phoenix Rising FC. Pittsburgh today won, dominated Monterey Bay on the road, and have been shot out of a cannon the last couple weeks since the dismissal of Bob Lilly, who has been the longest tenured head coach in the league up until this point. He's not been fired yet, for what it's worth, but it does not seem as though he will be back this season. Ronan Haku. So you look at the game from a Phoenix Rising lens. You really just need to do the same thing you did these last 2 weeks, right? Is that kind of crazy to say?
No, not at all, especially tonight when you talk about a Pittsburgh team that is kind of finding form and has that same confidence that Phoenix Rising has going in, and still with a little bit to play with, not as much as Rising does, with obviously that kind of carrot waving in their face of possibly having a home game here. But for Pittsburgh, it's still, you never want to drop a game in the championship. You never want to take a game off because you never know what's happening in the playoffs. We see it almost in every American sport where a bye exists, right? The bye sometimes doesn't help for you, so you're still going to come out with that same energy in match day 30 that you came in on match day 1 if you're Pittsburgh, and continue that good run of form into the playoffs.
Pittsburgh have to win to confirm themselves hosting a playoff game. A draw would not be enough for the Riverhounds, though it would be enough if some other teams also drop points, as Pittsburgh is currently fourth. Phoenix haven't hosted a playoff game in 4 years. You have to go back to the first round of 2021 when Babacar Jai broke Rising at Wild Horse Pass. You mentioned dangling the carrot. It's almost this next weekend, though, like a mousetrap. You have the cheese. That's the reward. That's the home playoff game. But if you make one false step, the trap's got you, and Phoenix, for them, they could also miss the playoffs if results don't go their way next week.
And that's why you rely on what's reliable, right? That's Charlie Dennis, that's Hope creating, that's Sacco running in on the opposite end. And you take half of what you saw from North Carolina with that offensive pressure, right? And you take the half from today with the low block, and that's a pretty reliable way to find at least a result in Pittsburgh.
We'll take off Charlie Dennis. You're not allowed to pick him. That'd be too easy. Who's your man of the match?
Ooh, man of the match. That is not Charlie Dennis. Now, you put me on the spot on this one, but...
It's a tougher challenge. You could go with one of the 3 center backs. Morsu was spectacular in midfield.
Morsu was great.
Aviyevu and Johnson were good.
I think I gotta go Hope.
Sure.
Oh man, I could go Darius. I'll go with Hope, just because he is that consistent presence, played the whole match. But I think a really difficult decision, frankly, because Morsu is fantastic, gritty, annoying, which is always what you want from a center midfielder that's moving around, talking off the ball, complaining to referees. It's always a good recipe for a center midfielder. And then Darius Johnson was just taking it to his former teammate, Harvey Neville, on this near side here in front of us. It was fantastic to watch. But for me, Hope, the way he plays the game, the way he as skilled he is, especially at this level and at his age, right? It's easy to take too many touches, to try to do too much, and so frequently Hope is 1-2 touch when you know he can give you more, but just knowing, picking and choosing when to do that and when to show that flair is so fantastic, and that's why it's so difficult for this rising front 3 to be managed, because you always have that kind of X factor floating around.
It's the 10th goal in all competitions this year for Charlie Dennis. Hope Aviyevu had the most chances created for Phoenix, also won the most duels in the match for Phoenix Rising. They've got Pittsburgh Riverhounds next week. We will close the book on this one, and we will give you the stats from the game. Rising outpossessed 61-39. Remember, Phoenix had about 60% of the ball the first 10 minutes. Scored, bunkered, secured the win, thanks in part to their 10 shots. More importantly, though, San Antonio, with all that possession, 5 shots, just 1 on target, never tested Patrick Rakowski. Phoenix created all the big chances in this game. Remember, Jean Morsu almost scored from midfield as well in this contest. Yellow cards galore, mostly belonging to Rising players. San Antonio did have more fouls, though, than Phoenix did. The table looks like this in the USL Championship Western Conference. FC Tulsa has locked up the #1 seed. Sacramento Republic will play later on. New Mexico United later on, 45 points, 44 points. Colorado Springs on 37 points, San Antonio on 37, all behind Phoenix on 39. Lexington, 36. Orange County outside the playoffs right now on 36 as well. That's pretty much the rest of the way. Phoenix, I'll leave you with the final question, Ronan, because neither you or I are on the broadcast next week. Who hosts? Does Phoenix host a playoff game? Do they get the results they need next week? Or does Rising have to go on the road in the postseason?
Had they not managed the game as well as they did against North Carolina, it'd be really difficult for me, even with bias involved, right, to pick Phoenix Rising to come up with a result against Pittsburgh. But I think this team is capable. They showed it tonight, and I think, unfortunately for them, it's not in their own hands. I really don't foresee the San Antonio team coming away with a result against El Paso.
Sure.
So I think Phoenix Rising takes care of business in Pittsburgh, but I think, unfortunately, the San Antonio fandom for Phoenix Rising won't be enough to push them over the edge at home.
Phoenix took care of business tonight, a 1-0 win over San Antonio FC. Charlie Dennis got the winner after a 2-0 win last week against North Carolina. It's back-to-back clean sheets for the first time in 5 months for Phoenix Rising. I've been Ryan Sikora tonight for my partner Ronan Haycoop, our engineer on site, Casey Smith, our technical director. Back in studio is Chris Schubert, saying so long from 38th in Washington. It's been a wonderful year for football at times for Phoenix Rising. Yes, it's been down, but they cap it tonight on Fan Appreciation Night in front of 7,000 with a 1-0 win in front of the South End. So long for this year. Maybe we'll see you at 38th in Washington in 2 weeks' time. Phoenix Rising win 1-0 on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.